Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Jeff Rust with your Sports Center update. First on The Fan, the NBA Finals are finally here from the Paycom Center in Oklahoma City. The Thunder hosting the Pacers. 5:30 tip on ABC. Coverage across the hall on 910 ESPN Portland. Your radio home for the NBA Finals starts at 4:30. The Thunder are 10-point favorites. On the diamond, the Mariners look to avoid a sweep at the hands of the AL East's worst Orioles. 12:40 first pitch on Root Sports. Brian Wu starting for Seattle. Zach Eflin for Baltimore. The Mariners start the day still a half game back of the Astros in the AL West. Over in the NFL, the Ravens, they've signed wide receiver Rashad Bateman to a 3-year, $36.75 million extension with $20 million guaranteed. This according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. Over on the PGA Tour, it's the last chance to qualify for the U.S. Open at the RBC Canadian Open. That is at TPC Toronto at Osprey Valley. And you have a total of 16 golfers within one stroke of the lead. So tied for first at 5 under par. You got Taylor Pendrith, Alex Smalley, Paul Peterson, Danny Willett, and Shane Lowry. Among those one stroke back at 4 under par is Justin Rose. Tied for 17th at 3 under par is former Oregon Duck Wyndham Clark. And, of course, Kashmir Keith Mitchell tied for 30th at 2 under par. And from the clay at Roland Garros, the women's semifinals, number 1 seed Aryna Sabalenka beats 5 seed Iga Swiatek in 3 sets. And number 2 seed Coco Gauff beats the surprise of the tournament, Lois Boisson, in straight sets. Sabalenka and Gauff are 5-5 in 10 career matchups. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The Fan Merch Locker has a new black 1080 The Fan hoodie, as well as classic long and short sleeve tees. Get yours now at 1080thefan.com. This is Danny and Dusty.
Meringatang is going to be a thing.
You're not coining anything new.
With Danny Meringue and Dusty, the Fan Man Hera.
I'll throw some monkey sounds in there and call it good.
The old Danny Meringue pie?
Danny and Dusty on the Odyssey app and 1080.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome.
The Fan.
Good afternoon. How's it going? How's everybody doing? Another edition of Danny and Friends. This time, Danny's new friend.
Indeed.
Old friend?
Old friend?
We'll go with old friend. It's Will Ortner hanging out here, getting to be in the one chair. This is the first time I've been in this chair.
Oh, yeah?
Not doing this job,
There you
but
go.
in this physical chair. I've never sat in this
Oh,
spot.
okay.
I don't know that I like the angle.
It's weird.
It's not a great spot for the TV. I can kind of see your computer, which makes me feel weird about it. Like, I'm worried. I was worried. You were over there messing with your golf handicap.
Mm-hmm.
For half a second, I thought you were messing with your bank account. And I was a little bit worried about it. And I was like, oh, no. Now I'm going to know how much money Danny has. Now I'm going to know how much to ask for next time I see Dusty.
$24,800.
That's right. Lots and lots of cash needed. Extra money, all that good stuff. I don't know. The AC doesn't hit quite as right over here. You can hear you sneezing, so I might as well get right into the allergy talk,
no,
dude.
I've been fighting it hard.
What's getting you?
I don't know. I'm it's pure unadulterated death though, and it's just horrid.
Are you taking allergy medicine? Like,
Yeah,
are
I
we
have
hitting
like the-
Flonase?
I'm doing the maximum strength Zyrtec.
Oh, you got to add in Flonase, dude. Or any kind of spray.
I am. So thankfully today my eyes aren't on fire. So I went back contacts. A lot of that has to do with the fact that wearing glasses makes me tired as hell.
Yeah?
And it's just like one of those things I'm just like, at the end of the day, hell, just getting done here. I get home and I'm like, I'm tired. Why do I wear these glasses? This is so dumb.
What makes them make you fall asleep? Like, what about them? Are they
I have
blue light blocking?
No,
What's happening?
I have to. My eyes have to work harder.
With the glasses?
Yeah.
Is it because you're like, so I also wear contacts. I also have glasses. Haven't updated them in probably 4 prescriptions.
It's the focal point. So when you wear contacts, your focal point is everywhere. Like it's
well, it's just like you don't have anything essentially.
Where you look is in focus. So if I look through not the direct center of my glasses,
then it can get kind of thrown off.
Yeah, because I'm actually, we mentioned this a little bit yesterday. My eyes work independently.
Oh, so do you have astigmatism?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Okay. Well, I have astigmatism too.
Yeah, and so a host of eye issues. Basically, I'm blind as a bat without corrective lenses, and didn't know until I was 12. But yeah, it's one of those things where it wears on me. Whereas if I wear contacts, I don't even notice.
Really?
Yeah, the thing that sucks though is like when I was wearing my glasses the last couple of days, I'd take my glasses off and just kind of chill for a second,
Yeah.
and then I'd be like, where the hell did I put my glasses? Because I can't see.
Have you ever thought about LASIK? I've been thinking about LASIK a lot recently.
I can't do LASIK. I have to do what's called PRK.
Okay, so what's PRK? Never heard of it. Why can't you do LASIK?
Just because of things that are wrong with my eyes.
Like lasers? You're anti-laser?
Well, no, it's a thing with LASIK. You have to have, there are certain conditions or whatnot that it can't correct.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So with my PRK, they actually go in and they do something with the lens of your eye.
Okay.
And kind of I think they reshape it. The last time I had this discussion was a decade ago, so somebody actually knows the process. But feel free to correct me. But LASIK would not correct the issues that I have, so I have to have a bit more of an invasive surgery. Because LASIK's like done in like a couple minutes.
Right. Well, in LASIK, they give you something so it forces your eye to stay. I've done very minimal research, yet I've decided that once I get the money, that's the first thing I'm spending my money on, is I want to fix my eyes. I'm over the contacts.
Yeah.
I like wearing contacts. It's not a big issue. It's just 2 to 3 times a year, I have to, drop $1,000 to go get new contacts. And I hate that.
See, I've got the extended wear that I can.
That seems expensive.
Yeah.
I'm a special boy. I need special contacts.
No, the optical world it is very expensive. Shout out my wife, who she works for the state, so our health insurance is unreal. I think I mentioned this before. I actually made money on my hip surgeries.
How? Can I have hip surgery to make money?
So I had to put I think $1,000 deposit down on each surgery.
Mm-hmm.
They gave me a $1,200 check back both times.
That rocks.
I was like, huh? So I actually literally made money on my hip surgeries, as weird as that was. But we get a stipend with her insurance every year.
Okay.
I get $500 a year for either glasses or contacts.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Like my parents used to have insurance and eye insurance that I was under, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but I know that every year, like, it helped knock some prices down or whatever.
My wife likes to get her very bougie, like, glasses.
She got the big ones. She got like the big 1990s, 1980s ones that are this large.
She does have a pair of those. Like she wanted something that was like really over the top, but my wife has finer tastes in everything except for men, apparently. But like she's got like some Louis frames and stuff some really nice stuff. But I continue to get basically the same contacts I've had forever, just like the better technology with them. But
I'm the same boat. 100%.
The optical care world is super weird. It's like it's the best of all the appointments that you have to do. It is easily the best and easiest.
In what way? Because I'd make the argument that it is the worst. It is the hardest. I despise anything that has to do with my eyes.
You'd rather
and the
go to a
doctor.
dentist?
Oh, 100%. But part of that is I love my dentist, and my hygienist is my aunt. So it's a little bit of a bias thing there. But for me, like when it comes to eyes stuff, the insurance sucks. They don't give you any money. They don't help you out using it at all. You might as well not have eye insurance. At least I don't right now.
Yeah.
Right? If I go in and I buy anything, it gets more and more expensive every single year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the type of person where with my eyes and my allergies, because I'm allergic to everything here in the Pacific Northwest, literally, we did the stupid needle test. And they're like, hey, by the way, you're only not allergic to this one kind of dust.
Oh, really?
It's at the beach. So I'm allergic to everything and everything possible here where I live. And you would think that it would get better when you go to other places. It doesn't. I digress. So I have to have the 1-a-day contacts, because if I have the 30 days or the 10 days or 15 days, after day like 2 or 3, all the stuff that I'm allergic to, everything, gets stuck in there. And then I'd have to buy new contacts anyway, so you might as well buy the 1-a-days. Well, the 1-a-days are super expensive because you're literally in throwaway.
Yeah, I do the 30 days.
See, now me, I can't do contacts because I can't stick my finger in my eye on purpose.
You get used to it.
My dad was the same way. He tried wearing contacts for I want to say like 3 months, and he just could not, like Rust. He just could not get over it.
But I do believe like the whole optometry game, it's a racket.
100%.
Because the last time I bought these, I mean, I've had these glasses for several years.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually went in and bought them, and I had insurance, and this is the only pair of glasses that I bought, and it was still like close to $500.
Right.
With insurance.
Right. And the insurance only kicks in every 2 years.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's like the Summer Olympics and Winter Olympics.
Yeah.
Every 2 years you get insurance, and it's like, here's a nickel. And you can use that to buy whatever you want.
Yeah.
I'm out on optometry.
And it's like, is it my fault that I'm nearsighted in one eye and farsighted in the other, like Danny? So my lenses have to be that much more expensive. And then, if you don't want the lined bifocals, then that's another, another charge. If you,
and then you got to get the, if you're like me, with one eye far, one eye near, then you have one lens that's thin, one lens that's thick, and so you got to get the thin lens on both.
Well, so for me though,
weird as hell.
For me though, it's the progressive lenses. So I have no line bifocals, so they're both the same in each eye, basically.
Oh,
But
now do you have transition lenses? Will they go to sunglasses out in the sun?
I might be 48, but I'm not 100 years old yet.
So then you have to buy your own sunglasses too, so that way it's
I don't have to do
special-
S, but pay taxes and die.
Do you not have the special
I
sunglasses?
do not own any sunglasses.
Oh, okay. See, a bunch of people.
I've
have specials.
had one pair in my life of prescription sunglasses. When I would wakeboard when I was younger, the number of times that you absolutely eat crap face first,
Yeah, all the time.
it knocks your contacts out just religiously. And so when I was out in the water, and that did present some problems wakeboarding because,
well, you need to see, I would assume.
well, I could at least pick up the shape of the wake. That was okay.
I would hope you wouldn't miss that, but yeah.
like when we would first go out there in the morning, I would make sure that I'm paying attention on the runs up and down the river. Like every now and then there's a floating log or something like that. That, hand to God, I cannot see without my contacts in. Like, so if they're, like, I have to remember where we're at in the river and stuff like that. I'm like, all right, I need to stay on this side of the wake for the next 100 feet because I know this thing is up here, like around that. I don't want to land and hit that kind of a deal.
Gotcha.
But yeah, no, the medical world is very weird, but the optometry gig's great because Russ, your dad's a dentist. It's the highest suicide rate of all the professions.
Dentistry?
Oh, it's
Yeah.
dumb high.
Why?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either, but yeah, both my dad and my brother are dentists. And
I feel like dentists.
And I come in here every day and do this stupid stuff.
You don't ever hear about like the optometrist, like you hear about like the doctor, the medical doctor who has like a ton of debt from medical school and stuff like that. You never hear the horror stories about the optometrist.
Right?
You know what I mean? I'm like, that's where it feels like that's like the best lane to get into. And if you're here locally, you've got like the top optometry school in the country at Pacific.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, and that makes sense. But I also think it's like if you're gonna get into that doctor world, it's a great spot to be in because I go to my eye doctor all the time, and I do actually like them very much.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great eye doctor, fantastic place, and I do believe they listen. But every time I go there, it seems like they have great work hours. The schedule's nice. Friday, they're out halfway through the day.
Yeah, I say a lot of times they have like half days during the week and stuff like that. Like,
you're
it's like,
clearly making money. I know how much I pay for my contacts and glasses, and when I wore rec specs, I know what those cost. Like, I can only imagine how much you're raking in. So it must be a pretty good gig.
That's what I'm
You
saying.
don't
Like
have to deal with that. Like, it's
yeah.
great.
I mean, what's the worst thing you have to deal with as an optometrist? Like eye disease?
But what eye disease? Because like if someone is like seriously sick, right? If they have like,
Then
an eye cancer,
you're talking about optical surgeons.
yeah, that's not a
That's not the
normal eye
optometrist.
doctor.
Yeah, like you're diagnosing it and sending him there.
100%. So
It's like
feel
that's what I'm saying. It's like the best.
perfect?
It's the best doctor gig.
I was gonna say because I would have said dentistry before about 5 minutes ago, but
Yeah,
I don't
No, man. I mean, even taking the
confused.
suicide talk out of it, like you got to be in people's mouths.
Yeah, but again, you're gonna make a bunch of money.
Sure.
Hopefully you don't have too much in loans. You probably do. But once you pay those off, you're going to have a ton of money. You can retire earlier. Again, you have your own practice. You can set your own hours. It feels to me like a pretty good gig. Again, if there's real issues, you send them to a real dentist, surgeon type deal. Like, I feel like if you're going into that role, you want to be either an eye doctor or a dentist. I want nothing to do with real medical field.
Yeah, the people that get into like the actual surgeons, it's
Mhm.
like, oh man, that's a lot. You ever seen the guy that practices brain surgery with the little robot like folding origami?
Yeah.
You're just like,
Yeah. I'm out on that.
that's a lot, man. That's a lot.
I'm 100% out on that. I have a friend who is a surgeon for animals.
Oh, there you go.
I'm out on that as well. I have no want.
I got
have no
nothing
need.
but love and respect for vets and veterinary surgeons. I could never work in that career field.
I just can't go cutting anybody or anything
No.
unless they got it coming to them.
I can't do blood. I'm not a blood guy.
Here's the crazy thing. I can handle my own. I can handle my own injuries. Like when stuff happens, when stuff has happened to me, yeah, it's traumatic and stuff like that, but it doesn't bother me that much. When I see it happen to someone else, that's a problem for me. And yeah, but like the veterinary stuff, like I love dogs, dude. I can never, like, even though I know it's a good thing for the dog, I can never cut a dog open.
See,
What?
right.
Yeah.
Well, and that's like her whole thing is she saves them, right? Like
Yeah.
she's
That has to be the
that's-
justification.
She
Dude,
doesn't do anything
I
without
cried
saving.
on a TikTok video yesterday because some disgusting, despicable family left their family dog on the side of a freeway in the middle of the rain, and this dog is just so, it's just lab. It's just so sweet and so cute and so broken now because the family betrayed it. I'm sitting there bawling like a little baby. I'm just like, how can you do this to a dog? I could never take a freaking scalpel to a dog.
See, I can't do. Thankfully, we have talking jobs and we have school teaching jobs. I can do those things. I could never do a job where I'd have to cut into anything or anyone. You can text in the show at 503-864-6326. That is the fan text line. Join in the conversation for the show. Obviously, we're going to talk today a little bit about the Stanley Cup final. Game 1 was
We're going to talk a lot about that because that game was freaking awesome.
Well, see, I want to talk a lot about hockey, but I also know that there's a certain NBA Finals Game 1 that starts tonight, and there's a bunch of different avenues that we can go down, and I really want to start off with some of the hate that's already coming at this series and really at the NBA in general. There's a lot of ratings talk already, and I know it's not everyone's favorite thing to get into, but I think there's some people that we can dunk on, no pun intended. We're going to be taking a break. It is Danny and Dusty here on 1080 The Fan. Well, we've got a hot route. Just breaking news. This is coming from, I'm reading this off of Jerry Dulac's Twitter. He is covering the Steelers for the Post-Gazette. Looks like it's out there in Pittsburgh. Aaron Rodgers has officially informed the Steelers that he plans to sign a contract and attend minicamp next week. We'll get into Thunder's Pacers. There's plenty of time for it in this show. But we do have to discuss probably the worst kept secret going through the NFL offseason, at least so far. When the Steelers did not make a draft pick that was a quarterback in the last NFL draft, I felt like at that point we all knew it was only a matter of time before Rodgers was coming to the team.
Well, yeah, I mean, Rooney was on record as saying we're pretty certain we've got something done here, and they basically let Aaron do what Aaron does. What's his cadence that he usually goes to? Is it Blue 42?
I believe or a Red 80 type of guy. I think he's a traditional.
Yeah, he's a traditional guy.
Blue 42, Red 80.
Yeah. And I saw a stat come up the other day. He of the offenses that go the deepest into the play clock, Rodgers has 3 of the 4 highest of like the last 25 years. And because they were discussing like the effect of his cadence,
right,
and how deep it can get into the play clock. They're the half court version of the NFL. They play slower, so basically he can see. You have to show basically everything. Yes. Rodgers, no matter what you want to say about him, is one of the smartest quarterbacks to ever play the game. Like there's just, you aren't going to show him something he hasn't seen. And
right,
the longer he goes in the play clock, the more you have to kind of show your hand before the snap.
Well, and what Rodgers is going to do is he runs his style of offense.
And that's what's going to be interesting. Is he going to run, how much are the Steelers going to relent?
I think they do.
Or is this going to be Arthur Smith's offense with Aaron's flavor? Like basically, what they did in Green Bay towards the end was, here's 3 plays.
Right. It's LaFleur's offense, but it's catered towards Aaron Rodgers. And if Smith is a good OC, which I do think he is, he has shown that he can win, at least as an offensive coordinator. Yeah. They cater it to the strengths of your team and the strength, at this point, of your quarterback, right? And personally, for me, I'm over the Aaron Rodgers saga. I'm over all of this. I'm done with it. It seems to me at times that he has become a why are you looking at me? Stop looking at me type of a guy. But even I am smart enough to know, hey, it's old Aaron Rodgers that's still about above to maybe just right at that average mark. And average to slightly above, in the right situation, can help your team win a lot of football games.
I mean, how many quarterbacks in the league genuinely are still better than Aaron right now?
Again, yeah, 10? You're looking at 10 to 12,
maybe
10 to 12, which puts him right at that average to slightly above mark.
Like if you're looking at mark, would you rather have Tua? Would you rather have Geno Smith? Would you rather have Jared Goff? Like,
I'd rather have Goff. Would
in
you?
A place like Pittsburgh, you wouldn't rather have Tua.
I would rather, right. Well, that offensive line, they got a lot of young
I'm just talking
studs.
when you get to the second half of the season, stuff
true.
gets
cold, and him having to throw. And that's the other thing with Rodgers. He proved last year that he can still throw in the cold.
Yeah.
Right? I think some of the stuff with the Jets was just a dumpster fire from start to finish.
From jump.
With this Steelers organization, Tomlin has clearly shown that he can get the craziest of players to buy into the system and do what they need to do. And Aaron Rodgers is not that. He is eccentric. He has his things that he likes to do.
And his teammates love him.
And exactly. His teammates love him. You're probably now going to bring in a Lazard type of a receiver because that's
and you got to go replace your tight end now because Parham tore his Achilles, and now they're back on the block with Jonnu Smith and how that shakes out now. And it gets very interesting very quickly now for the Steelers. But I mean, let's say Aaron decided, you know what, I'm going to sit this thing out and wait until another team has an injured quarterback and I'm going to come in. The Steelers were they really prepared to go into the season with Mason Rudolph?
No, and that's why I think it became the worst kept secret.
Yeah.
They would have taken a QB in this draft, and not necessarily in the first round, but they would have taken a quarterback second, third. They would have taken someone. They would have taken a flyer on Shador. They would have taken a flyer on Gabriel. Like, they would have taken somebody. they would have reached up and gone and got Tyler Shuck. But it's clear that they were going to go and get Rodgers. And it's also clear to me that Rodgers learned from last year's issues, right? Remember last year, he attended all the OTA stuff, but when it came to mandatory OTA time, he wanted to leave and he ended up going out to Egypt doing whatever he was doing out in Egypt. And frankly, who cares? I bet you he still kind of wants to do that thing. Mm-hmm. And the Steelers are okay with it. And Rodgers should be okay with it because right now, who cares if you're out in Egypt? Who cares if you're out in Southern Oregon hanging out with the Raiders doing whatever?
Yeah.
Right. You're not on a team and it's not a distraction. Yeah. And now you can come in.
And he'll be there. Everybody's saying, all the newsbreakers saying he's going to fly out, meet with the team. He'll be there for mandatory minicamp. Aaron Rodgers, look, I've mentioned this before. I grew up with him. He's very different from when he was younger, very clearly. He's also very smart. Like, right. I do not worry about Aaron Rodgers picking up Arthur Smith's offense.
No,
and in the least bit.
And they will design that offense around him.
And like that part of it, I'm not worried about at all. Now, how the Steelers build some things around this. Yes, he's got DK. Yes, he's got Freiermuth. But you don't have Pickens there now, so there's one less weapon. Like, do they go out and try to find, your Allen Lazard or somebody else that Aaron's got some rapport with? Or if it's not Lazard, a guy of that ilk that, has the timing, has the rhythm, has Aaron's trust, those kind of things. I'm really interested to see, though, what DK can do with Aaron.
If DK can stay healthy with Rodgers, watch out. I'm a big DK guy. Mm-hmm. I'm still a little upset that Seattle got rid of him. And I understand that there are clear weaknesses to DK's game.
Sure.
He has about 3 routes he can run.
But those 3 routes, he runs them very well, and there's not a lot of guys who's going to beat him to that ball on those routes.
Right. He's faster than everyone else. He's stronger. He can jump, get everything. Now, you've got 3 routes that you can run, but if you can set up this offense running the football, play action pass, now in a flood concept, he's going deep. He's got one-on-one with a defender. Like, I think that you're looking at another possible 1,000-yard year from DK if he can stay healthy. I've been looking for their over-under on the season. I believe going into the year with Rudolph, I believe it was at 7.5.
It probably goes to 9.5 now.
Do you think that's fair for Rodgers?
Yeah, I do.
You think he's really plus 2 wins at this age in that division specifically?
Just because the gap between Rudolph and Rodgers is a chasm. Even, old Aaron Rodgers. Last year, he threw for just under 4,000 yards.
Yes.
Just under 4,000 yards. With a dysfunctional organization, a dysfunctional team, everything about that didn't make any sense whatsoever. Now you're going to one of, if not the most stable franchises in the league from top to bottom, whether it's ownership, whether it's general manager, whether it's coach, whether it's assistants, no matter what, it is all in line. That is why the Steelers are always winning 8 and 9 games.
Right.
Even old Aaron Rodgers is better than any quarterback they have had since Roethlisberger.
And honestly, probably since Roethlisberger before his last 2 to 3.
Yes.
So I just went and found it. It was set, that win total for the Steelers was at 8.5 games. I still think 9.5 is right.
No.
I now come back more to 9.5.
If you told me 9.5, I'd be like, yep, that's spot on. If some book out there puts it at 10.5, I'd be like, it's a little dicier.
That seems high to me, just because, again, you are going to have to go through the Ravens, who they have to be the hungriest team in all of football right now, in my eyes. And if they're not, it's the Cincinnati Bengals, who have missed the postseason 2 years in a row.
And now they've got a bunch of stuff that they still have to figure out with Hendrickson and signing their draft picks.
And it's just ownership meddling in business that they don't need to meddle in. But when you look at this Steelers team, if anyone can quiet the outside noise, it's Tomlin.
Yeah.
Tomlin can quiet some of the narrative that is formed around Rodgers as, frankly, being an eye roll, because he has turned into that. I look at this team, that defense, yes, they're getting a little bit older. I worry about TJ Watt's health and longevity that he's going to have with this team. Remember, he worked out the same way that his brother JJ did. And JJ was awesome. He was the best player in football for a 5-year run. And then his body just was destroyed and gone. And JJ has said on multiple occasions that the way that he trained in high school and in college and in the early part of his NFL career, that's what led to those injuries later on. You'd see the videos of JJ Watt squatting like 10 cars, right? Looking like Superman. And then you're like, why did his body break down at 29:30? Well, it's because he was lifting too heavy for too long, right? It's why when you look at some of the best bodybuilders of all time, half of them now are in wheelchairs or they're walking with crutches. Ronnie Coleman's a big example of this. He has the famous video where he squats 800 pounds for 2, screaming lightweight all the way through. It's a great video. Trust me. I watch it before leg day every day. I watched it this morning. Leg day was today. But when you lift like that and you attack your body like that, it does lead to a quicker deterioration. And so I wonder if that's going to happen for TJ. Although they did just get Derek Harmon, and he's going to shore up that interior defensive line.
Him and Hayward would certainly help. So if they can get Watt back out there healthy and make some things like, look, the Steelers are always going to be good. Like that's the reason Tomlin's at 16 straight years, 17 straight years.
He has never had a losing season.
Yeah,
never, ever, ever in his entire head coaching career.
And that would put them at 9 wins.
Right. And
so the line being at 9.5, I could see that pretty easily. And again, I could even see it bumping up to 10.5 because if they go out there and they play Steelers defense and they take care of the ball, like look, Aaron's never been a guy that doesn't take care of the ball.
Right. He doesn't turn the ball over.
Like that's not an issue with him at all, and never has it been an issue. So the personality fit is certainly interesting, but the Steelers have had more eccentric, off-the-wall personalities than maybe any team in the league in the last 15 years.
And they've all performed.
Yeah, and they get the most out of guys. And Aaron's not going to be there for 10 years. So you can figure it out for a year or two.
Right.
And then, you do what the Steelers do, and they retool, and they stay good, and they figure it out.
Yep, and they clearly think that he's the best option. Quick, before we get out of here, you got to pick. Are they going over or are they going under? Win total, we're going to say it's at 9.5.
I'm gonna be optimistic and take the over because of what the organization the Steelers are, but it's not a comfortable over. I think they win 10.
Agreed. I would not bet it, but I'll tell you right now, if I'm gonna lean towards them getting to 10 wins or lean towards them not getting to 10 wins, I think Tomlin and Rodgers and their longevities of their career have proven that you don't bet against them, or at least you don't make money betting against them. All right, we did our hot route. Breaking news. Rodgers has just informed the Pittsburgh Steelers that he will be signing with the team and attending mandatory minicamp. It looks like right now we don't have a dollar figure on what he signed for, but
that's going to be interesting because he said, you can pay me $10 million. I don't really care about the money. I'm good.
What if they paid him league minimum?
And I think that if he did something like that, it's because they're going to go do something else.
And it's clear that he thinks that he can really win with them, which is really the only reason why he should be playing at this point anymore. He's made plenty of money. It's about winning. It's about legacy. Speaking of legacy, we got 2 small market teams that have an opportunity. And really, I think with both the Thunder and the Pacers, this could just be the beginning. We're going to get into NBA Finals Game 1 right after Rust with his SportsCenter update.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, the NBA Finals indeed finally here from the Paycom Center in Oklahoma City. The Thunder hosting the Pacers, 5:30 tip on ABC. Coverage on 910 ESPN Portland, your radio home for the NBA Finals, starts at 4:30. The Thunder are 10-point favorites. NFL Network reporting 41-year-old quarterback Aaron Rodgers has told the Steelers he will fly to Pittsburgh tomorrow to sign a 1-year deal with the Steelers prior to next week's minicamp for his 21st season. On the diamond, the Mariners looking to avoid a sweep at the hands of the AL East worst Orioles. 12:40 first pitch. That's coming up in just a few minutes on Root Sports. Brian Wu starting for Seattle, Zach Eflin for Baltimore. The Mariners still a half game back of the Astros in the AL West. A wild game in Atlanta just coming to an end in the last few minutes or so. The Braves entered the 9th inning with a 10-4 lead over the Diamondbacks. Lo and behold, Eugenio Suarez knocks a go-ahead 2-run double to cap off a 7-run 9th. Atlanta goes scoreless in their half of the 9th, and Arizona wins 11-10. Last chance to qualify for the U.S. Open at the RBC Canadian Open at TPC Toronto at Osprey Valley. And you currently have, let's see here, we got 9 now golfers tied at the top of the leaderboard at 5 under par. Taylor Pendrith, Alex Smalley, Paul Peterson, Cameron Champ, Danny Willett, Thorbjorn Olesen. Oh, where did my... Wow, there we go. Thorbjorn Olesen, Justin Rose, Shane Lowry, and Trey Mullinax all at 5 under par. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Russ from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Jump back to earlier parts of your favorite fan shows on the Odyssey app. The only way to rewind Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
Welcome back on in. Will Ortner filling in right now, the latest edition of Danny and Friends, the latest friend to join the show. Danny Meringue over there finally getting into the NBA Finals. Game 1 is tonight. Right now, the Thunder are favored by 9.5 in that one. If you want to text in your predictions for who will win the finals, you can text us in at 503-864-6326. That is the fan text line. And there's been a lot of talk, Danny, from people that you and I both probably agree on don't actually like basketball, or don't like basketball in the way that they claim they do. Because instead of starting off talking about how this is going to be a fun series, the Thunder want to run, the Pacers want to run. You have two young stars in SGA and Halliburton. SGA is the MVP of the league, right? You have two teams that have built their championship contending teams in a different way than we've seen before. They have one superstar, and then they have a bunch of really good young players around them, built on defense, instead of seeing, big twos, big threes, big fours of the past. Mm-hmm. And it's clear that you have the next evolution of what the NBA is going to be. Yet, we're talking about TV ratings.
Throughout, really, since we knew what the finals were going to be, I have made the call for, please, for the love of God, do not talk about small markets. Do not talk about TV ratings. Do not talk about the stuff that you want to talk about because you can't talk about the game. And it's driven me absolutely nuts. I love Trey Wingo, and what he was when he was a part of SportsCenter and how big of a deal he was in that era.
Right.
But he had a tweet in response to Adam Silver, his comments on if we're going to a Super Bowl and it was Packers Steelers, you guys would celebrate that. And they were comparing the whole idea of like the market size doesn't matter. In the NFL, the market size does not matter because the NFL has done the right thing for years and they've built up teams regardless. Two of the best brands in the entire league are the Steelers and the Packers. The Packers,
right?
Green Bay, Wisconsin, I think the population is 55,000.
Yeah.
I believe it's the smallest city.
That would be half of Hillsboro.
Yeah, I believe it's the
tiny.
smallest city in all of the top 4 professional sports.
It has to be, unless maybe like a Winnipeg, maybe.
No, Winnipeg's huge.
So then it has to be.
Yeah,
that.
Winnipeg's like the 4th biggest city in Canada.
It has. Well, Canada's small.
I mean, it's 40 million people, but yeah, but I mean, it's
right.
I spent a bunch of time in Winnipeg. Winnipeg's a big city.
You're 100% right. It's Green Bay. Green Bay is the smallest market in all of the markets with a Big 4 team.
Population of Winnipeg, 783,000.
Yeah, Winnipeg's a big city
as of 2022.
Yeah,
that's smaller than here, isn't it?
It's about the size of here.
Slightly.
The Portland metropolitan
It's like
area is
800.
what, like 1.2?
I think Portland, the city. Is
I think if you're including the burbs.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
All right, I will brush up on my populations of big cities.
No,
in
Winnipeg's
Canada.
a very international city. It's a big city.
Yes.
But like I don't care about market size. I have never once looked at a single game and been like, oh, the ratings of this is not going to be good, so I'm not going to watch. No, there's so many freaking storylines coming out of this. You've got a brand new MVP. You've got another star on the rise.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a guy in Pascal Siakam looking to win another title. You got a coach in Rick Carlisle who can join the club, become the 4th coach in NBA history to win a title with multiple teams. And if he somehow managed to win this title, should be looked at as one of the best coaches the league has ever seen, because he would have manufactured 2 of the biggest upsets we've ever seen, with the Mavs knocking off the Heatles and the Pacers knocking off what is historically a fantastic team in a season from this Oklahoma City Thunder. Like, you look at the analytics behind it.
Right.
The number of things that you're looking at here, you can go a million different ways. This is what Trey Wingo said. This is such an obvious obfuscation. Yeah, we don't care who plays in the Super Bowl because we're addicted to football. We didn't feel the same about the NBA. It's simply math. So it does matter who plays in the NBA Finals. You're telling me you don't care about basketball, and that's fine. And here's where the NBA has gotten it wrong. They have tried to be the NFL. You will never, ever, ever, ever get to that size. Not in this country. Now, in the world game, yeah, basketball laps.
It's only
football.
Probably what, soccer and rugby, maybe
It's
that
just,
past basketball.
It's just soccer.
It's just soccer.
It's just soccer.
Because and I just read the Hakeem book by Miran Fader. Fantastic book. And in it talks about how Hakeem learned to play basketball and basically the beginning stages of what has become an international basketball.
Yes.
And that's only going to continue to grow as you see more of the success from shoe sales for guys like LeBron. Obviously, Jordan started it.
But the international, it really starts with the Dream Team.
Yes,
100%.
That's the game is growing.
It exploded in '92. And I mean, who are the best players in the NBA right now?
Right, they're all foreign players.
All of them.
Your top 5, probably by the time you get to 5th is where you're going to hit your first American, depending on if you prefer Tatum or Gordon. But you're going SGA, Canadian. You're going Jokic, European. You're going Doncic, European. There's an argument. Giannis. There's an argument to be made that within 2 or 3 years, Wemby's going to be up there, right? Like, we're not that far off. And I think that's also why you see the laziness of who's the face of the game, right?
Because you can talk about that and kind of throw out whatever platitudes or takes you want to talk about, as opposed to I was listening to Caitlin Cooper. She was on with Zach Lowe, and I will plug her work all the time because she's one of the best and brightest that there is in this game. And she was talking about how Tyrese Halliburton is one of the best at finding the skip pass to the corner, and the Oklahoma City Thunder allow the most corner threes in the playoffs this year because they pack the paint so much. and the Pacers are taking and making more corner threes than anyone. So is that something that Oklahoma City Thunder, are they going to have to try to change their defense around to not be so paint packing oriented? Because the teams that they have played in, the Denver Nuggets, the Minnesota Timberwolves, they're not the best shooting teams either in volume or in accuracy. Because remember, the Timberwolves couldn't hit the broadside of a barn from three for so long.
Other than game 3, they were horrible from deep. Horrible. And that's why they won that game.
And the Nuggets are a team that, while they're accurate, their volume, I believe they were 29th or 30th in volume. Now, the Pacers are a team that this is where you can get into the argument stuff. Are they due for regression? Because they're the best shooting team in the playoffs. Hands down.
Right.
Effective field goal percentage, true shooting percentage. They're the best shooting team in the playoffs. They're also the best corner three-point shooting team in the playoffs. And you have these unique matches and cross matches where, SGA and Halliburton aren't going to guard each other. Now, they might get cross-matched each other or back on each other because of some other matches. But you've got Lou Dort, who's going to sit there and put his big tank butt on Tyrese Halliburton. And then it's going to be Alex Caruso. And then it's going to be Cason Wallace. And you just kind of go through all the different things. Are the Thunder going to play with two bigs? Are they going to play with one big? How are they going to handle Pascal Siakam? How are they going to handle, are they going to sag off other guys and make them become scorers? Like, there's so many different things where this is why I've talked about the coverage of the game, like just using ESPN as the monolith.
Well, they're
here.
just the worst at it.
They are. That's why they're going to lose. That's why they're losing so much of the coverage going forward.
Because they don't give their analysts time to talk about the game. Like, you just went on a 3-minute, I don't want to call it a rant because that's the wrong thing, but let's go with a monologue.
Yeah.
You went on a 3-minute monologue where I learned about 3 or 4 different things that I didn't know, but that matched up with reasons why, hey, the Pacers might play this game close, or hey, OKC is good at defense. Where's the weak point for them where the Pacers can match up with it? And the problem is that the analysts are either choosing not to in certain cases and are just attacking it as a rating standpoint, or what they're doing is they're not given the time to let it breathe, to go and have the conversation that needs to be had about how these matchups can be exploited. Where do you play a Caruso? How do you use his minutes? How does Nesmith's ankle injury, how is that going to affect him, right? He was the difference maker early on in that Knicks series, and you saw once he hurt his ankle, Brunson was able to get more of his shots in the spots that he liked. Now, Nembhard came up big in game 5 or game 6, whatever that game 6 was where they finished him off. And so what changed in Nembhard's game? These are the conversations that I want to have. I want to have an excitement when it comes to talking about basketball.
Not because who cares about what markets we're playing in.
Right. Because if that's what you care about, then you don't like the sport.
Exactly.
And don't say that you do.
And just say you're a casual NBA fan and like you're just not that interested.
See, and I don't think a casual NBA fan is a fair thing there because I would largely consider myself a football guy. That's the sport I grew up playing. I wasn't very good. Didn't make it past freshman year. Well, shoot, didn't make it past 8th grade year of basketball. Ironically, too short. But I enjoyed the game enough, right? And I like watching it. And what I found in the postseason, and I've had my complaints about regular season basketball, but in the postseason, it's played in a fun way. It's played in a fun style. The games are fast. There aren't very many blowouts. And when they are, it's because a team is doing one thing or two things so well that they're exploiting that it's just fun to watch. Minnesota blew out OKC in game 3 in Minnesota.
Because they were hitting everything.
I couldn't take my eyes off Anthony Edwards. There was a play where he had 4 guys on him, and there was no reason for him to shoot the ball, yet he was in such a zone that he wasn't going to stop.
Didn't matter. And that's the thing is like, I brought this up. God only knows how many times. Chris Vernon, who covers the Memphis Grizzlies, does Memphis radio.
He's great.
I love Verno. He does the Masters check-in every year. If you haven't seen that, go check that out. It's an absolute blast. But he's a huge Grizzlies guy through and through, and he has this anecdote of the great thing about the NBA and basketball is it doesn't matter what night it is, what game it is, whether it's regular season, whether it's playoffs. You have a chance every single night to see something you've never seen before.
Yeah.
You have a chance to see a player go absolutely crazy or a player to absolutely choke a game away in a fashion that you just cannot fathom. You can see greatness in both defeat and in victory. And it's just, there's so many things that locally, the Blazers are playing a Rockets team that's not that good in, Dame's final year, and he goes for 71 in a regular season game. And you're just sitting there going, I will remember that game for the rest of my life because I've never seen somebody score 70 points in a game in front of me and then go talk to that guy after the game. And the first thing he tells me is I should have had 90.
Right. And you can largely believe him.
It was
right?
just, it's
like you just can't. There's going to be something that happens in this series.
Even
that's
if it's
amazing.
a blowout. Let's say that the Thunder win in 5.
I think there's a chance that the Thunder win in 5 and every game is within 8 points.
And it, like, is that a bad series? No, it's
absolutely not.
It's just like the whole way the NBA is marketed and sold by its broadcast partners is absolute dog crap. That's the problem. The whole, well, there's not enough storylines. There's not enough things here. I didn't have to dig that far to find very good storylines that aren't, is Tyrese Halliburton a superstar? Or do we need to get Halliburton out of Indiana because he needs to go to a bigger market? Like, that's the stick that they go to because that's the crap that sticks to the wall.
Right.
And it's so frustrating when you watch NFL Live and you watch Orlovsky up there and you watch Spears and you watch these guys dive into stuff that matters day in, day out when there isn't games on during the week.
Right. And they do a fantastic job, Mina Kimes as well.
Yes.
And basketball needs to be covered that way. So let's do that. We're going to take a break and we're diving in to game 1. Can the Pacers win here on 1080 The Fan, Danny and Friends edition? Will Ortner here for a Danny and Friends edition, the latest friend to join the program. There's going to be a couple other friends still going. Don't want to ruin the surprise on who they will be. We've been talking Thunder and Pacers. Game 1 tonight. Right now, the Thunder, heavy favorites. They're minus 9.5 to win this game. Right now, they're minus 700, I believe, to win the entire series. Everyone seems to be doing the gentleman sweep conversation. Danny, give me a reason why the Pacers can play with this Thunder team.
Because they're so versatile. Yes, they want to play with pace. They want to play with frenzy and freneticness and be disruptive. I mentioned this, I want to say, earlier this week when we kind of knew what the matchup was going to be. One of the things that the Pacers are really kind of proud of is not the pace they play with on offense in the sense of like how many possessions they get, but how fast they get across half court and get into their sets.
Right.
Like the number of times that they get into their stuff with 21 seconds or more on the clock is astronomical.
Yeah, it's not quite Phoenix Suns,
it's
Steve Nash,
it's faster.
But it's faster.
It's faster.
Really.
They're actually faster than them because they play so well out of dead balls, like on made baskets. Like
I see.
It's one thing to play fast when on a missed shot because that's you've got imbalances around the floor. But I mentioned this the other day, but I think it's worth mentioning again. One of the things the Pacers really do very well is that, and gets into the weeds, and this is the kind of things I think should be talked about more. And when you're talking about like national discussion, and when you're talking about when Tim Legler gets up on the whiteboard, this is kind of one of those things that he highlights.
I got one here for you if
there
you
you
need
go.
it.
So think about floor spacing in general. Even if you're talking about the Thunder, who play somewhat of a 5-out, but when Hartenstein's off the floor, because Holmgren can stretch the floor. So you basically have some version of 4 guards and then Holmgren. So SGA is a guy that yes, the free throw merchant stuff, I don't care about that. But what he does is he puts a ton of rim pressure on you, but not in the traditional sense. He doesn't often get all the way to the rim. He's very good in the short paint.
Right.
The mid-range pull-up, 10 to 4 foot range.
It's a methodical nature, not attacking the rim with complete unabandon, right? It's more well thought out.
And it does put you in a bit of a bind because let's use the Blazers so you have a frame of reference. When Donovan Clingan's on the floor, more often than not, they're not going to put him in coverages where he's going to switch. Now, he does every now and then, but they're going to put him in a more traditional drop coverage to be kind of the lone rim protector. And when you're in drop coverage, you're kind of playing center field in the middle of the paint. Well, with SGA, he doesn't go all the way to the rim. And when he doesn't get all the way to the rim, you get this thing where your big is kind of caught in no man's land and you step up, and that allows room for guys working in the dunker spot and things like that. But when they flatten all the way out and your guard gets all the way at the rim and your big is in the corner and the Thunder, or let's use the Thunder, they score, the Pacers are already going the other way as the ball is going through the rim. And now your lead defender, usually your point guard, has to get all the way back 60 feet to be able to try to stop that. And your rim protector's in the corner. He's got to go 90 feet to go meet Obi Toppin or Pascal Siakam. Good luck.
Have fun. Well, and a lot of times you saw against the Knicks, it was Siakam who was the one who was getting out quick. And Obi Toppin, when he comes in for Siakam, he's the other one. 2 large individuals who can attack and get to the rim.
Get downhill, super physical, great rim finishers.
But especially with Pascal Siakam, more so in this case than Obi Toppin, he can pull up.
Yep.
Right? Like if he sees, hey, it's better for me at the mid-range, I'm going to pull up and take this shot.
Or now you get caught in cross matches because now Cason Wallace has got to fly back and he's up, 8 inches shorter than Pascal Siakam. Now he's going to take him in the mid post, and the Thunder are going to go, okay, we're over aggressive, so we're going to help. Now you skip past the Nembhard or Nesmith. He's wide open on the weak side for a 3. Or now you've got Halliburton coming off of a flare off a pin down, and now you just kind of put a team in binds. Like the Pacers are going to have to win on the margins because the Thunder are so good. But there is a path. It's just a very, very narrow one.
Right, and it's going to have to be used, no pun intended again, they're going to have to use a lot of pace. In classic fan host fashion, I'm already off the clock, so we're going to try and get back on. Hour 2 is going to start off with the Thunder and Pacers built this team through the draft, and they built their teams through some very important trades. Sounds like a path that maybe the Blazers could take. Can the Blazers build a championship team just like the Thunder and Pacers have? Next hour on Danny and Dusty on The Fan.
Hey, it's
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Jeff Rust with your Sports Center update. First on The Fan, the NBA Finals are finally here from the Paycom Center in Oklahoma City. The Thunder hosting the Pacers. 5:30 tip on ABC. Coverage across the hall on 910 ESPN Portland starts at 4:30. They are your radio home for the NBA Finals. The Thunder are 10-point favorites. NFL Network reporting 41-year-old quarterback Aaron Rodgers has told the Steelers he will fly to Pittsburgh tomorrow to sign a one-year deal with the team prior to next week's minicamp for his 21st season. The Ravens have signed wide receiver Rashad Bateman to a 3-year, $36.75 million extension, $20 million guaranteed. This according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. The Mariners looking to avoid a sweep at the hands of the Orioles. That game has already started. Let's go check out that leaderboard, shall we? It is where we got there, bottom of the second, and we are still scoreless at nothing. Excuse me there. Wild game in Atlanta. The Braves enter the ninth inning with a 10-4 lead over the Diamondbacks. Lo and behold, Eugenio Suarez, he knocked a go-ahead 2-run double to cap off a 7-run ninth. Atlanta goes scoreless in their half of the ninth inning, and Arizona wins 11-10. Last chance to qualify for the U.S. Open at the RBC Canadian Open at TPC Toronto at Osprey Valley. And we now have a few new leaders at the top of the leaderboard. It has now gone to 6 under par, where you have 4 golfers: Cameron Champ, Danny Willett, Thorbjorn Olesen, and Shane Lowry. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
It's back. The 11th annual Fan Golf Classic at Langdon Farms Golf Club happens Tuesday, June 24th. Presented by your local Toyota dealers. Reserve your foursome now at 1080thefan.com. Danny Meringue.
I found 2 empty bottles of a particularly decent Chateau Noir Bordeaux 57 in your rubbish.
Dusty Hera.
You went through my garbage?
This is Danny and Dusty on the Odyssey app.
I find it particularly offensive that you use them to wash down an order from something called Macho Taco.
And Portland's sports leader, 1080.
I would never drink a Bordeaux with a Macho Taco.
The Fan.
It was a burrito machissimo.
Hour number 2, Danny and friends. Will Ortner, the latest friend to join the fray. Got a couple others going the rest of the way. Does it feel a little bit right now, Danny, with your co-host going through? I imagine it similar to the first scene in Wedding Crashers, where they're doing all the partying, but then, they keep falling with a different girl every single time. Does it kind of feel like that right now?
Yeah,
Maybe not as happy?
A little bit. Like
Minus the boobs.
Yeah.
Well,
minus the greatness that is Diora Baird.
Was that one of the people? I'm bad with the actresses and names. I'm not going to lie. I'm bad.
She's stunning. She's the bombshell blonde who she's laying in bed with her at the end, and it's like gets the name wrong or something. I think she gets her name wrong. And she's like, it's whatever. She's like, just
you don't care.
Go.
That movie, and I've seen it many times now, but my first viewing experience of that movie, not the best spot to watch it. We were traveling to Canada.
Oh, road trip?
In the bus. Oh, yes, her. Yes, I do remember her. Yeah. That is one of the funnier movies that we've watched on a road trip. And I do remember, like, in that scene, that was one of my first trips. It might have been my first trip on the team out in college. And I remember on that drive being like, well, they have to play the TNT clean version, don't they? No, they don't. Nope. You got the unrated and uncut version, I guess is how you'd say it. Yeah. It was a 18-year-old Will Ortner was like, oh, that's how this works. That's how this works.
You're all adults.
Yeah, we really were. Well, maybe not all adults, but we're doing okay. Danny, I asked you before the break to think about, could the Blazers build a team like the Thunder and Pacers? And you kind of earlier told me, yes, but there'd have to be some luck involved. And what do you mean by that?
It's, there is a version of kind of making your own luck, right? One of the storylines that is coming out of this that I think is fun to kind of talk about is both these teams were built by trading Paul George.
Right.
Which it really is an interesting thing to think about. the Thunder.
So you're saying the Blazers should trade for Paul George,
and then I think
and then move him in a year or two.
He's got to be cheap now.
Well, no, he's very expensive. That's part of the problem.
Trading pieces.
Well, I mean, you got to get the salary to make it make sense. But the Paul George gets hurt, has the grotesque injury, but comes back, and then is ultimately he's going to be on his way out. Gets traded to Oklahoma City. And this is where they kind of make their own luck, is that they trade for a guy who's not under contract, but they get Paul George to extend in Oklahoma City,
right?
Which is not a small feat. Like,
I remember not thinking he was going to.
Nobody did, and the same thing is true with Cleveland in trading for Donovan Mitchell.
Right.
When the Utah Jazz traded Donovan Mitchell to Cleveland, everyone, I mean everyone, I have talked to people in that front office, the media around there, both cities. Everybody was under the impression that this Donovan Mitchell deal was like, we got 2 years.
Dude, he was going to be a Knick.
He was going to New York.
Everyone said it.
It was the worst kept secret. And yet, because the CBA changes and because the Cavs get good, Donovan Mitchell goes, look, this isn't my favorite place. This isn't the place that I thought I wanted to be, but we're pretty damn good. I'm going to take my money. I'm going to extend here because we've got a real chance to win something. And Paul George did the same thing in Oklahoma City because they got real good real fast. He's like, you know what? We got a little something here. Let's see if we can make this happen.
Right.
It took the Pacers a little while, but they get Oladipo, who unfortunately is also injured, and that kind of becomes the end of him.
He would have been awesome though.
He's a fringe all-star. He's a really good player.
He was really good. He would have been a great number 2.
Look, if you had Victor Oladipo right now in his prime, alongside Tyrese Halliburton, you'd be dealing with a vicious team.
You're probably the favorite over the Thunder.
I don't know if you're the favorite, but like you're talking about a series that's
it's not minus 700.
No,
let's just say that it's not minus 700.
If it's not a toss up, it's closer to a toss up for sure. But they flipped Sabonis in what was a move that I would say is you weren't deciding like the Warriors were between Steph and Monta, but Pacers fans and the organization they love Sabas, but they make this move because the Kings have 2 point guards in De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Halliburton.
Picked the wrong one.
And yes, they did in a sense. Like Hallie's better than Fox, but Fox is an all-star guard. Like
yes,
what's unfortunate for the Kings is they now have neither. So you want to see the other side of this coin. This is what bad decisions and bad luck that you create can look like.
Right.
And look, the Blazers made their own luck by drafting Damian Lillard. And that draft was led by Chad Buchanan. He was the interim GM. And now Neil Olshey technically drafted Dame because he got the job 6 weeks before the draft.
Great pick.
All of the work was done by Chad Buchanan and his staff. And they empowered him. And then Paul Allen basically said, you're taking Damian Lillard. Neil Olshey wanted to draft Andre Drummond. Just
thank goodness he didn't.
Yeah.
What a bust that would have been.
So, number one, give a metric crap ton of credit to both Sam Presti and Kevin Pritchard and Chad Buchanan. But if you're the Blazers, what you're trying to do is hope that you can strike that. Because SGA wasn't a top 5 pick. Tyrese Halliburton wasn't a top 5 pick. Yes, the Oklahoma City Thunder did get a number 2 pick in Chet Holmgren.
Yeah, but Jalen Williams
is a number 12 pick.
Right.
Tyrese Halliburton is 11 or 12, and then Shea is 11 or 12.
Russo's a journeyman he's a huge
But he started with the Oklahoma City Blue, their G League franchise, with Mark Daniel. So like it's about just doing things as right as you can with the opportunities that you have. And I know some people are like, well, the Blazers should have drafted Amen Thompson. Amen Thompson, as great as he is, nobody was putting him above Scoot because of the things that, like, when you're talking about building a team out, as great as Amen is, he has, like, even with a entirely broke jumper, he's so good at the other things, nobody expected it to be that impactful.
Scoot was being billed as if Victor Wembanyama is not in this draft, he is number 1.
He could be a number 1. Like that was the thought process. And look, this is not a Greg Oden, Kevin Durant situation. Like when you're talking about Wemby or Scoot or Wemby and Miller, there was a very clear line of demarcation between the two. But when you take a look at the Blazers and you look at the moves that they made, I don't think there's been a move in there where I was like, they really botched this one. Like, oh my God. Like, I know some people were like,
I think they've made 2 really good moves.
I mean,
to be honest with you,
2 and Denny.
I would exactly. Tumani Kamara, right? The Ringer just released their top 100. You have 3 Blazers that are on that list. 2 of them you got recently. Denny is at number 61, Anthony's at 87, and Tumani is 95. I think that Denny and Tumani clearly are players that you would use in high roles in a championship contending type team. Look at how deep the Pacers are. Look at how deep the
Both
Thunder
those
are.
guys would play for every playoff team.
100%.
And be Tumani would probably start, like, Denny's a little different because of like his role.
Right. Where does he fit? Whatever.
But
Tumani plays defense in a way that he would work on every team, and every team would be willing
he
to
would
take
start on every team.
Right. And that's a guy that, yes, he was kind of a throw-in piece at the end of your Nurk trade over to Phoenix, right? But
wasn't a throw-in. The
they
Blazers
traded specifically for him.
demanded, like, the transaction was not going to be done without two in the deal.
Right. Okay, so for casual Blazer fans, that was not someone whose name jumped off the page.
No,
today.
he's a 52nd overall pick. He had a great summer league because remember the trade was later in the year. Like, the Suns, to their credit, did not want to give up two.
Right, but they ended up having to.
Yes.
It's very similar, and now there's comparable levels. But SGA is kind of a throw-in piece where the Clippers didn't want to get rid of him, but the Thunder said they absolutely had to have him. I think that you have the bones, or at least I think if you squint really hard, because we both have really bad vision, we both have our contacts in, if we took them out and we had to look at the picture, you have some pieces that can fit these teams. So how do they make the next step? And it can't just be luck, right? Luck is a piece of it.
They do have the
that.
11th pick, which has done pretty well for both these teams.
Right. And Fort Minor has taught us that it's like, what, 20% luck, 15% luck, 20% skill? So how do we use that 20% skill to go in and get the right pieces?
And that's the hope, right? Is that, you pick the right guy in the right draft that just hits like a truck. And the thing is, like, for all of the people like, well, the Clippers traded for SGA, like, yes, they did, but it's because they had Paul George. But people thought SGA was going to be good. No one thought he was going to be an MVP. They thought, okay, at his absolute peak, could he be a guy who makes an all-star game? Yeah, probably. That's why they got all of the draft capital.
Right.
Because SGA was not he's a surefire, absolute all-NBA guy. Because if you trade for a guy that has that, then the draft capital's smaller.
100%.
Like, again, I am not taking away from what the Thunder have done or what the Pacers have done, but there is a large element of luck. Like, and what plays a part in this is you look at certain organizations where you say the luck doesn't go their way, in like the Kings or the Wizards or the Hornets, and you can look at it and you go, but yeah, why does it keep happening? Because it's been multiple owners. It's been multiple GMs. It's been multiple coaches. Like, it's not like the Kings haven't had talent over the years. It's just they've never had the right talent at the right time. Now, can that be ownership meddling? Yeah. Can it be overvaluing your own players or your own picks or going all in on things that you shouldn't go all in on? Like, those things, yeah. I mean, those are all issues that you deal with, and that's where you hope the front office can do enough.
Right. I want to get ahead of this because we are going to have our own draft. We're talking about the Blazers draft and who they could come in and bring in. We're going to have our own draft. If you'd like to join in, you can as well. You can text in at 503-864-6326. That's the fan text line. At the start of the final hour, that's going to be at 2 o'clock, we're going to draft signs that you are growing up / getting old. So make sure that you get those texts in to join along as well, or you can put them in the YouTube chat. Thank you so much for being in our YouTube. We're going to pivot over to the NFL. Derek Carr, he retired, but he did it for a reason that I don't think a lot of players would retire, and he gave back a lot of his money. And you don't really see that in any sport, let alone in football, where money is not guaranteed. We're going to talk about that next here on Danny and Friends, the Will Ortner edition on 1080 The Fan. Derek Carr knew he was in a predicament. He had a shoulder injury that had completely destroyed his rotator cuff, and he could either sit out the rest of the season based on the injury and try and come back in a year, or he could retire. And so Derek Carr, obviously on May 10th, and maybe one of the weirder announcement times to retire, announced that he was going to retire from the NFL. And Danny, Carr did something that most players in any sport would not do, but I'm especially surprised that he did this in the NFL. He gave back his base salary for the 2025 season because he did not have to do that. He could have held on to that money. Remember, the New Orleans Saints right now, they are in cap hell. It's why they've been so old for so long, and they haven't made any changes because they couldn't. They gave too much money to the wrong players who got too old too quickly. Instead, he said, hey, I'll keep my $10 million roster bonus. I've made a bunch of money elsewhere. I'm going to give this money back to you, and you can use it to sign other players or to bolster extensions for some of your younger players. Does this make Derek Carr maybe the best dude?
Look, regardless of where you fall on faith, whether you're religious or not, DC is a faith-driven dude.
Yes,
fully, wholeheartedly. I know a lot of the Raiders media. I know guys that know Derek.
He still talks to Ruggs. It still goes and sees him, still calls him. And the one that sticks out to me is right after the Henry Ruggs whole DUI.
He was the one who took on the media.
And it's one of the more impressive speeches, monologues, whatever you want to call it, that I think I've ever seen, because you went from, or at least I did, of thinking about how could Ruggs do this, selfish, stupid, idiot, like deserves to be punished, all those things. And you come out of it afterwards, obviously has to be punished. But Derek talked about loving him and helping him through it.
Faith and humanity. And that's who he is.
Changed how I viewed it.
He's not fake at all. He doesn't just say stuff, he stands by it. He lives what he says. And that's a difficult thing to do. You know, he said some things before in the past that people have gotten up in arms about, and it's, he just, like he went to bat for Antonio Brown, even though, people didn't want him to, because he's very thoughtful. He's very he doesn't just say stuff flippantly. If he says something, he's going to stand by it. And if he says, hey, look, I'm going to love my brothers.
Yeah.
And I'm going to love people because that's, what I'm commanded to do by my faith or biblically. But like, that's a part of who he is. And that doesn't make him infallible. Like, you hear about like, this person of this faith, committed this heinous act. We're human.
The one that always sticks out to me is love thy neighbor, help everyone out, and then a certain unnamed preacher would not open the doors after a hurricane to the church.
Sure.
It's clear that that's not the type of faith-driven person that Derek Carr is.
No, and that's the thing is, like, contractually, he's owed that money. And I guarantee you, every agent in the world is like, take the freaking money. You are contractually owed that. Don't do that.
Yeah, and it's your last chance to make NFL-type money. He's going to be just fine. He's made a ton of money over his whole career.
Probably $150 million.
He's fine. And if he wants to do media, he'll be fine in media.
Because he's actually great at it.
If he wants to invest money elsewhere, like, he is fine when it comes to money, but we never see guys do this. Every once in a while, you'll see the Brunson thing, right?
Where he takes less so the other guys can go get a little bit more. And
go get my buddies type of deal. But he's not playing anymore.
No.
He didn't have to do this. And honestly, he didn't get them out of their cap situation.
No.
But he jump-started them. It's almost like he gave them that $1 million loan to jumpstart their career.
Your career, your business, whatever. Yeah, no, it is interesting. Giving the Saints it's not a full get out of jail free card, but giving them that assistance, giving them that opportunity is certainly something that you look at and you just kind of go, huh. And it's not, and you're going to get some players, not just in the NFL, but just across sports, are like, why are you doing that, man? You're making us look bad. Like, you're supposed to take the money. Right. But like, it also, fan bases, you shouldn't expect your players to do this. This is outside the norm. It's not what he's contractually obligated to do. This is his own free will, his own volition. This is what he wanted to do. I applaud him for, considering that and considering those other guys, because by giving that money up, he is allowing somebody else to go get a paycheck.
Yeah.
That is a real thing
Not
that's happening.
Honestly, with that amount of money, it's not just someone else. It's probably
Someone
4 or 5
else's.
someone else's.
Yeah. And
right?
and that part of it is like, I think that's probably more like less about the Saints and more about, if I give this back, that's 3-4 other guys that are on the roster.
100%.
Or getting more money or getting more opportunity, and I think he probably cares more about that than helping the Saints out per se.
Right, and to do that in an organization that he really wasn't there that long, and they honestly revved him a lot last year. Like, yeah, he had the injury issues. You can see why it literally led to his retirement. At the end of the thing, his shoulder was not tendons and ligaments, but really wet spaghetti noodles. He couldn't throw. He couldn't move his arm. Every time he tried to do anything, it hurt. And I think it's refreshing to see a player have that type of perspective to look around and say, I don't need to play anymore. Football doesn't define me. It was an early part of my career, but I want to spend time with my family and I want to spend time with my kids. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I'd like some of that money. I deserve some of that money. I earned some of that money.
Contractually, I'm obligated that money.
But I'm also going to pass it on to the next person, and I'm going to let them get some money, or a couple people get some monies, and I'm going to help this organization an organization, frankly, that they didn't necessarily deserve that type of treatment from him.
No, it's not like he'd been a Saint forever.
If Drew Brees did it,
you're like, I get it. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah. Like, had he spent his career with the Raiders and he did it, I'd be like, right. Yeah, I get it, 100%. But
100%.
Again, this is just kind of who he is, and it is an interesting story, and it is kind of cool just because you kind of get a little bit more of a fundamental understanding of like who he is as a person.
100%. Normally next you do the worst day on the web, but today I think we're going to call it the best day on the web because USC is fixing some boys' butts. No more itchy asses around here. After Jeff Rust with SportsCenter.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, the NBA Finals are finally here. From the Paycom Center in Oklahoma City, the Thunder hosting the Pacers. 5:30 tip on ABC, coverage on 910 ESPN Portland. Your radio home for the NBA Finals starts at 4:30. The Thunder are 10-point favorites. NFL Network reporting 41-year-old quarterback Aaron Rodgers has told the Steelers he will fly to Pittsburgh tomorrow to sign a one-year deal with the team prior to next week's minicamp. It will be his 21st NFL season. The Ravens have signed wide receiver Rashad Bateman to a 3-year, $36.75 million extension with $20 million guaranteed. That according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. The Mariners on the diamond as we speak, looking to avoid a sweep at the hands of the Orioles, and it is the let's see here, bottom of the third now. They trail the Orioles 1-0. Maverick Handley scoring on a Brian Wu wild pitch in the top half of the third. And a wild game in Atlanta earlier today. The Braves entered the ninth inning with a 10-4 lead over the Diamondbacks, but Eugenio Suarez knocks a go-ahead 2-run double to cap off a 7-run ninth. Atlanta goes scoreless in the bottom of the ninth, and Arizona wins 11-10. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
More, please. Golf in the Northwest with Jason Swigard is back. Saturdays at 8 a.m. before the Sinner and the Saint on Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan. It's time for today's worst day on the web. With Danny and Dusty on Odyssey and 1080 The Fan.
Man, that sucks!
Today's worst day on the web, I am coining as the best day on the web. I'm a glass half full guy, not a pessimist. And look, it's important when we have to go and do our business that we're taken care of as men in this country. And USC, Danny, your fine institution, you're an alumnus, alumni people. They have decided to spend money taking care of the butts of their players.
Look, there's no higher calling than making sure that you don't have bad TP.
You can't have the bad stuff.
Look, we may be out of the humble bowels of the Willamette River there at the old studio, and this building, while 100 years old, is quite nice on the inside. We have our brand new state-of-the-art little booths we got here, and our bathroom is very locker room style.
Yes.
Very wide open, well lit, showers, lockers, all those kind of things. Plenty of space in the stalls.
Yep. A lot of leg room, I've noticed.
Yeah, a lot of leg room, which is nice. You can sprawl out if you want. If you're one of those weirdos that gets naked to poop.
Okay.
I'm just like Costanza. I only take off my shirt.
On an away game, you cannot get naked.
I know people who still like.
That's disgusting.
They use the coat hanger and they get
no,
and I'm just like,
that's disgusting.
Dog.
If you're playing a home game, though, you know the locker room. You know where things need to be played. Look, if you're playing a home game, like, why? Why would you hamper and make things a little bit more difficult on yourself?
I've never been somebody who's like, oh, I need to get naked to do this. It's such a weird thing to me.
Sometimes you know what's coming. And you know it's a high fastball.
That's what you need.
You know it's a heater.
You know that you might need a shower after this.
You know
so
that you need some flexibility. You need some maneuverability. And if you've got jeans and shoes on, that just isn't going to work. If it's at home, if it's on the road, you don't get naked.
Look, I'm just saying. At home, look, I am a cheap individual. I don't spend money on a lot of things. It's what balances me and my wife out. She loves to spend our money. I don't.
Opposites attract.
It's true.
Magnets.
But one thing I told her, I'm like, look, there's few things that I will be cheap about. One of them will never be toilet paper. I will buy the most expensive toilet paper you have ever seen. It will be like 4-ply, like cotton towels. I don't ever want, number one, want a stink finger. Number two, I don't ever want. I had military toilet paper, which might as well not exist. It is like the
it's 1-ply.
It is like the ass gaskets that you put on the toilet seat. Like that is military toilet paper. It's just sheets of that stuff. And USC's new general manager, who they brought over from Notre Dame a couple months ago,
Chad Bowden,
who has led USC to a #1 recruiting class this year, got things in line all the way through all the boosters, all the NIL, got Lincoln Riley off his butt and back over to Mater Dei, making visits there and getting recruits from the big schools in California again. This might be his biggest move. And I quote from Chad Bowden, "I got new toilet paper in our locker room. I got Charmin Soft in there so we don't have itchy asses."
His biggest move leading to healthier movements.
Yeah, see?
It's a great decision by him. Get your hands on everything. You got to make that organization truly yours when you become
it's fight
the
on,
GM.
not cling on.
No, 100%. And look, maybe that was the issue. Like USC, a couple down years. Now, all of a sudden, guys, they're not having to pay so much of their money that they've earned through NIL, having to buy monkey butt powder. You don't have to if you got the good stuff. You're getting taken care of. Have you accidentally ever bought the not good stuff?
Yeah, no.
We did not too long ago.
I'm fighting through it.
I'm
fighting through it.
I guess I shouldn't name the brand, but
don't
a national company and their like organic line of stuff.
Organic?
Organic.
You
yes.
can't buy organic.
Well, no,
not toilet paper.
Well, I didn't buy it. My wife bought it. That's why I usually try to buy the butt wipe, but yeah. So this was the organic, and it's just off. I think it absolutely had to be 1-ply because it kept shredding. It was awful. Never.
And you can only wad so much. We talked about this when we saw this story earlier. At home, it's a fold situation because it's basically a bath towel. It's
you get yourself the good stuff at home.
It is the most like I'm not doing this as a flex. It's just these are the things that I care about.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to have to deal with that at home.
Yeah.
That is not something I want to deal with. Here, our toilet paper is not the worst toilet paper I've ever seen.
It ain't
but
great.
It ain't great. It is a full-on wadded up situation.
So you guys have played road games here.
Oh God, yes.
I have not. I have slept here.
Brother, if you
I've showered here.
If you've watched
I
the
have
YouTubes here,
not.
I mean, I'm here 6+ hours a day.
Yes.
It's bound to happen
I mean,
sometimes.
hell, it's happened during
fair.
the show. If you've watched during the show,
yes.
there was one time 2 weeks ago where my stomach gurgled so loud, Dusty heard it through his headphones and shot a look at me, and I looked. I gave him the look of, "Oh God, no!"
I gotta run.
And he just mouthed "Go," and I'm like, I sprinted to the bathroom, and it was just like, oh God, this is gonna be a photo finish, and it was just like, sweet Jesus. But yeah, no, like it's happened to Dusty. Dusty had a case of the bubble guts once,
had it.
and we know the look, and you just kind of do one of these, like, keep it rolling.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you
Yeah,
might
we
have to
gotta
kick it
go.
in the next segment. I'm gonna do this as fast as I can.
Oh, there's
in
been
a
a
couple
time or two
commercials.
where we're getting towards the end of a segment, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, this is going to be an emergency.
Mm-hmm.
And I set the timer on my phone, and right when I hit the break button, I go in there, and yeah, so listen, there's been a couple of record-breaking moments in there, probably about three and a half minutes.
Yeah, doing the Usain Bolt. See, now,
man.
is this an age thing? Because
yeah, your body starts to break down.
well, and that's what I was wondering because, like, I don't do road games often. If I'm doing a road game, it's a real issue. But I'm still typically in control enough to where I can be like, okay, hey, this is going to be an issue. I know it's coming down the line. I can space it out. I can time it out. I can get through the show. I can get through this. I can get through that. Is there a certain age where it's just like, hey, man, when it starts coming, it's coming, and you got to go. Trains on the tracks. Get off the tracks.
Yeah, what's really funny is, for this is a little inside baseball. We have our commercials and stacks, and we kind of know how long breaks are going to be in between. And I've looked at Dusty as we're going into a segment and going, buddy, I can make it through this one, but I'll look over at Jeff like, I need you to move a commercial. I need a longer break.
It needs to be 5 minutes
I
instead of 4.
I need a longer break here. It's
gotta
a minute
go.
30 in the next break, and that ain't gonna cut it. So
We gotta go.
yeah, no, that's the shout out Chad Bowden for taking care of what matters.
100%. Well, and
It doesn't matter where you work. It is little things like I'm not a coffee drinker, but like if you have good coffee in the break room, or if you have good snacks,
an
or
ice
a good
cream
snack
machine,
machine. We've got a lot of beer sponsors. Shout out Great Notion.
yeah, they
like-
do a great job.
Like
Catch the pre-games.
our sales guys are like, hey, Great Notion dropped off some beer. You guys want some? Like
100%.
little perks of the job like that, like simple little things go so far
Mhm.
in having a nice bathroom and having good amenities. Like I've used our shower God knows how many times.
I think at this point, pretty much every like on-air person has, from producers to fill-ins to regular show hosts. I think at some point I've seen everyone's had a bag, and you can tell, like, hey, they're gonna shower, or they already have.
Yeah, we went to the gym before, or
Right.
worked out before, went and played golf before, or whatever. And
100%.
you're like, I don't want to sit in the box for 3 hours and stink it up.
No, well, and in here, there's no airflow. If it's going, it's going to smell. You got to take care.
Yeah.
We live in a society. You have to take care of others around
This
you.
is a society,
And sometimes you have to shower. You don't want to smell. As someone who, when I'm not in here, does have to deal with the dregs of society. And when I say dregs, I do, of course, mean the youth. I do teach.
Oh, they stink so bad.
I'd have a conversation with a student.
So bad.
I'm not going to say the age. I'm not going to say when this happened. The Axe body spray that I could smell from halfway down the hall.
It does not compensate for a shower.
The converse. I would rather have you smell.
And
I
not only
would
that,
rather
kids
have
nowadays
you.
don't take a shower after gym now, do they?
No, they're talking about, in some schools, they're talking about getting rid of the showers.
That's so nasty.
I'm
so nasty.
I am the last of the showers. Like, I am Daniel Day-Lewis, last of the Mohicans. I used to shower, and I had to. And yes, I played the music, the greatest song in movie history.
Yeah.
It's wonderful, and I'm going to listen to it on the way home.
Look,
I'm the last one.
In my time,
Wait, is it the one from what was it in Half Baked when Harlan Williams
No,
is in the Slammer?
the last of the Mohicans one, and I'm
I
not
was
going
talking
to do
about
a bad
All
attempt at it.
by myself.
I looked like The Rock in that bad movie he did, Central Intelligence, with
Oh, yeah.
Kevin Hart. Me and a couple other the old linemen dancing around, singing. It was a great time. They stopped showering after that, and I understand. Like, you guys aren't in the era where they were like check off clipboard.
No, not quite there. But so number one, I I always scheduled PE/weightlifting as 6th period,
and that's the
literally
smart move.
every semester of
Smart
my high
move.
school tenure. So
Smart.
I didn't have to worry about being stinky, but like, there were a couple times when I had one semester I had because I forgot a PE credit. I was like, oh crap, I had a double stack PE and weight training.
Yeah.
And so I ended up taking a PE class. I think it was my junior year, in the middle of the day. Oh, dude, you better believe I was hitting the shower. I'm not going to sit there and be stinky the rest of the day in
No,
class.
you have to. And it's a veteran move, especially now you weren't this. I was a fat kid. I'd have a change of clothes for like after 3rd period because I was going to
sweaty
sweat.
Kid. Yeah.
I think there were days I showed up with a suitcase. Like it just had to happen. So when you have like little amenities, like I remember when we found out that one of the showers got hotter faster than the other ones. And so it's like everyone raced over to get that one special shower. It was in the back corner on the right. You wanted that shower. Everyone ran in to the locker room after weights to get that back shower because if you got it, you were going to get the warm water. Those are the types of things that matter. And that's why this USC story, one, did make me laugh, but it shows, I think, a new attention to detail that maybe USC lacked. And I know it kind of sounds stupid.
No, it is. Like the little things matter.
Right. It sounds stupid and it sounds total football bro-y, football coach guy, Jim Harbaugh-esque of like every single thing you do is a reflection on yourself. But it is.
No,
because
it's very reminiscent of like the military-esque stuff, like Jocko Willink, who talks about leadership and the things that matter. It's like it's making sure you have plans for everything.
Hey,
100%.
Wipe good, feel good, play good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Deion Sanders said that, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Almost exactly word for word.
That was prime time, right? That was his that was Coach Prime.
Exactly.
So congratulations, Danny, not only on your program getting better toilet paper, but clearly taking a step forward in the details that you have. We are going to come back and we have an anniversary to celebrate. And maybe we'll have another one coming soon our way. Next on Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
It's
Your local Toyota dealers presents the 11th annual Fan Golf Classic at Langdon Farms Golf Club on Tuesday, June 24th. How many days away is that, Danny? I'm bad with
19.
math. 19 days away. It's going to be brought to you by Henderson and Daughter Windows and Doors and by Philbrook Law, Accident and Injury Lawyers. Once again, there's going to be a morning flight and afternoon flight. Is one of them completely filled up or really darn close to it?
Afternoon is sold out.
Completely sold out?
Yes.
Wow, looks like you're going to have to be some early risers. Matt's Barbecue, they're going to be catering your post-round meal again.
Early bird gets the worm for those worm burners that you're going to be hitting out there.
Right. After some barbecue, man, you might be. Foursomes can be purchased right now. Head on over to 1080thefan.com. Click on the Fan Golf Classic logo for details and the link to purchase your foursome. More details to come. We look forward to seeing you there. It's a great time, as always. I have already been told I don't think I'm going to be able to sneak out on the course like I did last year. And that's a bummer. Well, I blame Dirt. Dirt was very upset that I may have snuck out with two different groups. It's possible that I may have been a part of the morning and the afternoon last year.
Yeah, I have yet to play in it. I've broadcasted from it live, and then
Yes.
we did the hangout sesh last year.
The hangout sesh last year looked fantastic.
Oh, look, I am not
It
going
was
to
fun.
complain one bit as one of
No.
our vendors was feeding me 27-year-old scotch, and then another vendor gave me a limited bottle of tequila.
Oh.
That was gone before the end of the day, sir.
I was going to say, wasn't that the first year?
No.
That wasn't the
No,
first year?
That was the first year. Because the first year I was working it.
I know, after the fact.
Oh, no,
there
well,
was some
no,
good
no,
tequila
yes,
getting
that
passed
was-
around that
well,
year,
that-
too. I remember.
That was a different vendor that gave me a bottle of tequila.
I see.
It is a rite of passage for a vendor to give me a bottle of tequila that is very good, that is gone before the end of the day.
I like how you've decided that it's a rite of passage. Like if you are an alcohol brand,
Yes.
there's a rite of passage here.
Yes. There will be a bottle of tequila that goes in Danny's hands that he will drink probably 80% of before the end of the day on the 6th hole.
Oh man, it's
Look, I've mentioned this a
fantastic.
million times. I don't drink all that often. It's not that I have anything against it. It's just that's not
Yeah,
what I
fair.
really do. Like
Some people like it, some people
I
don't.
did a lot of it when I was younger. But the golf day, my wife and I have this agreement, is a day that everyone who knows that I'm going to be there knows that I am going to drink everyone under the table.
And that's fantastic. Like you need to have those days. You need to have those times. Well, let's do it this way. This Saturday. Today is a great anniversary that we are going to get to. But it's also the anniversary 25 years ago when I became the best older brother in the world. Not many people know this. 25 years ago, June 5th, 2000, the great Lucas Ortner was born.
There you go.
And it is his birthday. Happy
Hey,
birthday to him. We're going to have a nice little boys get together, head on down to the coast.
There you go.
Beverages are going to be
Oh, yeah.
consumed responsibly,
I mean,
but a lot.
You could probably head up to Astoria too and find some of the Goonies 40th anniversary celebration stuff.
I
this
think I have to
weekend.
watch the movie first before I can.
you
do
haven't
that.
seen the
Oh,
Goonies.
Will.
I know. See, I've been quoting all these like older movies to like try and get into your guys' good
Come on,
graces, and then
man.
I just throw. Yeah, I know.
But
Look,
it is this weekend. It's the 40th anniversary.
really?
Yes. It's the 40th anniversary of the
God,
Goonies
so-
release
so
celebration in
Brolin's, like,
Astoria
almost
all
60?
weekend. Pardon?
So Brolin's almost 60?
Josh
probably, yeah.
Brolin's in that.
John, man. Yes, go watch that tonight.
I'll watch it. I'll watch
Tonight.
It. How far is Astoria from Rockaway?
From Rock. Probably an hour.
I say about
An hour.
Probably about
Okay,
an hour.
maybe I'll make my way out there.
Yeah, I'm guessing an hour.
We'll go on a road trip, obviously before beverages are
There you go.
consumed. That could be a good idea.
But yeah, no, it's Fan Golf Classic. Get out there, have some fun. Go to the Goonies house because somebody saved it, and then watch the Goonies, dude. Look,
I'll watch it.
I'm not even
I'll
like an
watch
Oregonian
it.
by birth,
I'll
and even
watch
I've
it.
seen the Goonies and like the ties that it has into this. Come on, man.
I know. I missed the boat watching kids' movies when I was a kid because I was watching sports. And today, speaking of sports, it's the Blazers' 48th anniversary of their lone NBA championship. Obviously, they beat the 76ers They won that series 4-2, Game 6. Bill Walton was your MVP. The amount of Hall of Famers in this is absolutely astronomical. I've got the wiki up right now. You've got Doug Collins, Dr. J, George McGinnis, Bill Walton, Jack Ramsey, and then on the official side, Daryl Garrettson and Earl Strom. Dude, that
Daryl Garrettson was kicking back then.
That's his dad.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's his dad.
Daryl
Yeah.
Senior.
No,
Daryl
you're
Lee.
thinking of Ron.
Ron. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
but
Apologies.
that is his dad. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. He was the last. Oh, no, I guess he wasn't the last one. Collins was the last one. He was elected into the Hall of Fame in 2024. Can we get back there at any point?
Oh no, the Blazers are allowed one title every 50 years, so we're at 48 right now. So and you can open
3 years.
You can open it back up in 2 years. Yeah,
I can't wait.
that's
It's going to be fantastic.
So-
Is that what like the Goonies treasure is? Like every 50 years you get to open it?
Yeah, there you go. I was watching New Heights with the Kelsey boys, and they had Shaq on the other day, and Shaq talked about. He was asked, do you have a favorite dunk? He goes, I have 2. And I knew what number 1 was going to be. It was going to be Chris Dudley when he put Chris Dudley in the rim.
Yeah.
And he
And
thought,
throws the ball at him. Yes.
yeah, so he just obliterates him with maybe the most destructive drop step we've ever seen in NBA history.
Mhm.
And just demolishes him. And it wasn't really a shot at Chris Dudley as much as it was a shot at the Knicks in the fact that they didn't send a double. He was like, I was disrespected. And so because of that, I dribbled once. He goes, the second time I dribbled, I even carried. Like, are you really not going to send this double? Okay, bet. I'm going to drop step you into another dimension. Have fun. And you get one of the most vicious power dunks we've ever seen in the league. And then he goes, my second favorite was more important. Game 7, Western Conference Finals.
Too soon.
And I'm just like,
Oh, the lob.
yeah, not that. It's just like there have been the 2 sports moments that are the most
And I think
seminal and destructive.
yesterday was the anniversary for that one. Yeah. Ouch.
The 2 sports moments in my life, in my sports fandom, that were the most destructive. The Tuck Rule game, it was a fumble. Charles Woodson knocked it out. The Raiders are winning that Super Bowl.
You've got bad sports luck, bro.
2 of the most vicious moments in sports history.
Bad sports luck.
The Tuck Rule and the Blazers blowing a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter. And Shaq tells the story that they go to the timeout, and he goes, Phil Jackson used to play all the mind games. He's like, all right, good season, guys. Pack it up. I'll see you next year. That was what he said in the timeout in the fourth quarter. And Shaq and Kobe, he goes, we were like, bleep this. We're going to screw you. We're going to that's
It shows you how well Phil understood that team, though.
the mentality. He knew how to get at him.
100%. I just read the 3 Ring Circus book. Fantastic book.
He's a master manipulator.
And you can see in there how he knew when to push buttons and when to pull back and how to stroke egos and when not to stroke egos.
He's the master at it. Like that's why they called him the Zen Master.
He had to deal with Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal,
Jordan,
Dennis Rodman,
Pippen,
Jordan,
yeah.
and he got the most out of all of them. And every time he showed up, it worked.
Yeah, it's the
Except
people
for the
management
Knicks.
part. But the he goes, Shaq goes, I told Kobe that lob's there, and he goes, when he crosses over Scotty and he gets that spot, he goes, he threw it so damn high, I didn't think I could go get it. I just had to go get it. Because if you look at Shaq, when he
barely gets his fingers on
it's
it.
a tip dunk, and he's kind of leaning his legs out to go get it. But that dunk and then the chicken head bobble back.
It's iconic.
I've mentioned this before on air. In the third quarter, as the Blazers were making this big push, this is in the AOL era, I looked at my dad, and we didn't have a ton of money, but the one thing we did together was go to Blazers games. And we went to Blazers playoff games. We went to the Lakers games in that series at the Rose Garden. And I go, if we go to the finals, can we go to one game? Because you just don't.
You
get
have
that, you
have to.
You don't get that opportunity. My dad's a sports fan, and he's
Right.
like, you know what? We'll find a way.
You make it happen.
He goes-
Right. You overpay
He
for
goes,
nosebleeds.
Go
100%.
see what you can do. So I fire up AOL. I get to the Ticketmaster website like in the fourth quarter. It takes forever to load. This is the old 56 kilobyte era.
I remember the noises.
And as it's doing this and the pre-sales unlocking for the finals, the Lakers make this run.
The run starts.
And I remember just my hand in my face in my hands crying. Just thinking, oh my God, they're going to blow this. And it's such a defeated, decrepit, awful feeling. Like even now, just like every time that clip comes up, it crushes me because nobody, not Scotty, not Sheed, not Smitty, nobody can hit a single damn shot for 6 minutes.
Just went cold, man.
And it's just
went cold.
One to stop the run, and the Blazers have another title.
Yep. Yeah, and they would have.
They would have played the Pacers,
and they would have beat.
They would have destroyed the Pacers.
They would have beat the last true three-peat, if I remember correctly. That's the last three-peat, right? Kobe, Shaq.
Yeah, it would have kept them from having one. Yes,
right,
because that was in 2000.
Right. So unfortunately, 48 years ago, your only championship as a city was won by the great Bill Walton. Text in 503-864-6326. You only have a few moments to get in a couple of your submissions for our draft. Signs that you are growing up/getting old here on 1080 The Fan.
I'm
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, the NBA Finals are finally here. From the Paycom Center in Oklahoma City, the Thunder hosting the Pacers. 5:30 tip on ABC. Coverage on 910 ESPN Portland starts at 4:30. That will be your home for the NBA Finals on the radio. The Thunder are 10-point favorites. NFL Network reporting 41-year-old quarterback Aaron Rodgers has told the Steelers he will fly to Pittsburgh tomorrow and intends to sign a one-year deal with the team prior to next week's minicamp for his 21st NFL season. Elsewhere, the Ravens have signed wide receiver Rashad Bateman to a 3-year, $36.75 million extension with $20 million guaranteed. On the diamond, the Mariners looking to avoid a sweep at the hands of the AL East worst Orioles. It's looking pretty good at this point. Bottom of the fifth, the Mariners with a 3-1 lead over the Orioles. Cal Raleigh responsible for all of the offense. He had an RBI single in the bottom of the third, and then the big dumper with a big old 2-run deuce in the bottom of the fifth for his Major League Baseball leading 24th home run. And a wild game in Atlanta earlier today as the Braves entered the ninth inning with a 10-4 lead over the Diamondbacks, but Eugenio Suarez knocks a go-ahead 2-run double to cap off a 7-run ninth. Atlanta goes scoreless in the bottom of the ninth. Arizona wins 11-10. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
It's back. The 11th annual Fan Golf Classic at Langdon Farms Golf Club happens Tuesday, June 24th. Presented by your local Toyota dealers. Reserve your foursome now at 1080thefan.com. Danny Meringue.
Dusty Bun?
Dusty Hera.
I've been really busy. I'm trying to save the world from Russians and monsters.
This is Danny and Dusty on the Odyssey app and Portland's sports leader.
Of course you have.
1080.
I want to hear it.
The Fan.
Final hour here on Danny and Dusty, a Danny and Friends edition. Will Ortner. If you want to catch any of the first 2 hours, head on over to where you find podcasts. You can head on over to the Odyssey app as well, or you can head on over to the YouTube, just rewind that thing, catch the whole show, or you can watch this hour and then go back through and catch the rest. Right now, we're getting ready for our draft of signs that you are growing up / getting old. Couple of good text-ins here. This one might be my favorite. Signs you are getting old. You have to do a stretch and a warm-up routine before unloading groceries.
I've evolved past that one. I have my groceries delivered.
You don't even attempt it. You guys bring it in.
They get taken to my door, and I usually have them there waiting for them. And I carry them from my door to my counter and then put them in the fridge or where they need to go.
That's fantastic. Another one in here, signs that you're getting old. You decline invitations to events for your kids, not because it's past their bedtime, but it's because it's past yours.
Yeah, that's not one that I have to deal with specifically because, number one, I don't have kids, but my wife is a go-to-bed early human.
Me too.
I am a go-to-bed early. During the season, 2:30, 3 o'clock. Non-basketball season, 1:30.
Wow.
Yeah, it's almost impossible for me to go to bed before midnight.
Dude, I'm 9:30 and I'm out.
Yeah,
I am asleep early. I'm not making it a long time.
I'm a late night human, but it is funny. Like when my wife and I will go out to, comedy show, concert, dinner, in a movie, whatever combo it is, and it gets past like 10:30. I know that wherever we're at, I'm going to be driving home alone because my wife is asleep in the passenger seat. Because it's past 10 o'clock and she's going to be out. So, yeah, no, I can definitely feel that one even without the kids.
Yeah, I'm asleep right away. So the way this one is going to work, it's going to be all three of us. Rust, you are going to get the honors to lead off. It'll go Rust, Danny, me, Danny, Rust, Danny, me.
The old snake draft.
Danny, Rust. Yes, if you have ever done any kind of fantasy sport in general, this is where the snake draft is coming from because it is turning into snake draft season as soon as the NBA and Stanley Cup finals are over. Rust, you got the first one. I'm going to let you tee off.
Well, for me, this is most of mine are more leaning towards the signs you're getting old.
Fair.
Yes.
Fair.
So my first pick, I'm taking I start to identify more and more with the Progressive commercials.
The urge to not talk to the stranger at the gas station.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
That is fit. I sneaky love those commercials because
Oh, I know they're hilarious.
I start watching like my
Because-
parents.
yeah.
I start watching my grandparents a little bit closer, and it's like, oh my goodness, you're turning into
Yeah,
that.
no, there's
Yeah.
nuggets of truth in every single
Oh
one
God,
of those.
it's
Yeah.
brutal.
Nuggets of truth, just like kernels of corn in a poop.
Yeah, it's the watching the guy build his own fire.
Mm-hmm.
That one gets me because I was that when I was like 20.
The guys standing
Right.
around watching him just
like, oh,
trying their best to
yeah,
not tell them how
no.
to do it.
Yeah, you're just like,
Yeah.
brother, what are we doing here? Like that, doing the survival school thing and
Let me do
being in
this.
the outdoors. That one like irked me like right out of the gate because
Yeah.
when we went to survival school, you had people from all walks of life,
Right.
enlisted and officers, and some people were super outdoorsy and knew how to kind of get by on their own. Some were not at all from metropolitan areas and had to start for the very basics on things. And you just watch and you're just like, it's painful to watch.
You're over there like, I want to do it for you, but I just can't.
Yeah.
You need to know how to do it.
Mine is a hyper specific one, and it started. I gave my father-in-law a massage gun for Christmas,
Okay.
and then he gave me the exact same one in return for I think it was my birthday.
A regifter?
But no, it wasn't. It wasn't mine. Like he had his, but
Oh, okay. Okay.
and I was like, the realization that this is maybe the best present anybody's ever given me. Like all of a sudden, I'm like, I'm gonna use the hell out of this thing, and my massage gun literally sits on my desk at home because I will be sitting there working on whatever, and I will just be sitting there just hammering my legs to death with the massage gun the entire time, and I'm like, is this the best present anyone has ever given me? And it's like the amount of use that thing has gotten is unending.
Do you have the multiple attachments?
Oh yeah, and it's got all the angles and all the settings, and oh yeah, no, it's very nice, and it's probably the thing that somebody has given me that I've gotten the most use out of maybe ever.
I'm gonna say right now, I haven't used mine since I stopped playing football.
It's either that or the yoga wheel.
Oh,
I get
the
home-
yoga wheel's
So,
a difference maker.
I get home and every day, no matter what time I get home, it is the same process. It is drop off my bags wherever they need to go, put away whatever needs to go away, give my wife a kiss, pet the dogs, grab the yoga wheel out of its spot,
Yep.
throw it on the floor, and unwind my back for about 10, 12 minutes. And it's just like, yeah, these are signs that you're getting old. It's like the things that I need to do to keep from having inordinate amounts of pain every single day require the work and the effort of the yoga wheel, the
Yes.
stretching bands, and the massage gun.
Yes, 100%. I had a roommate in college that had one of those. You jump on that thing, just hear your back pop all the way down.
Oh God, yeah.
It's just, difference maker there. For my first pick, this is a new one that just happened to me. And I think it technically falls into the getting old. Maybe it falls into growing up. Maybe it just falls into being lazy. Saying, oh man, I haven't worked out today. I need to go work out. And then walking for 20 minutes. Instead of hitting the treadmill, going for a run, hitting the stair climber, going in and lift, and just going,
making sure you're moving.
I'm going to walk for about 20 minutes, get a mile in. Maybe if we're going to be aggressive, we might put the incline up a little bit. But just making sure that you're walking, you're moving around, getting a little bit of your body going there.
That's a good one.
That's an old one for me.
I like that one. Next one for me, I'm going to go my wardrobe, regardless of what it is all basically the same color palette and all from the same place.
Oh, I have one that is
90% of my closet is Nike. And it's athleisure. Whether it's the polo like I have on, like I am literally right now, head to toe, every single piece of clothing I have on is Nike. I have a Nike hat, I have a Nike polo, I have a Nike undershirt, I have Nike shorts, Nike socks, Nike shoes. I know what I like, and as much as I've tried to like broaden my wardrobe back out, I just can't get out of this lane. I love how they fit.
Right.
I know that when I go buy it, it's going to fit the same way every single time. And as much as I've tried to go, get something nicer, go get some Lululemon or something like that, like just branch out a little bit, I go to the old comforts.
That's fantastic.
You just know what you are. There's no rebranding at this point.
No, 100%. The one I can't take it. You've taken that, but the one that I was thinking of was buying the thing that you like 2 or 3 times. Where it's like, oh, you have a shoe, you have a clothing.
The shorts that I have on right now, I have in maybe 9 different colors, the exact same short, and I bought them all at the same time.
Brother, this shirt, I got 5 of them.
Yeah.
I got 2 black ones. I got a white one. I have a green one, and I might have a blue one.
Oh, here you go, in adjacent, buying the pack of T-shirts. Like
yes, the Hanes, the all whites.
So
yes,
mine,
yes.
Ironically, I came full circle.
Yes.
The plain T-shirts that I wear, they're all Abercrombie, and it's the the pack of multiple colors, and it's just the plain T-shirt because I know how they fit.
Yes, that's fantastic.
What do you got, Rusty?
Next one for me. Again, well, anyway, and I noticed this. I didn't notice this the other day, but it was another example of it. You start finding yourself crying at movies, TV commercials, and TV shows and stuff more than like ever before.
Yeah, the sentimentality.
Yeah,
it gets to you. Is it usually like kid based?
Familial based.
Yes.
Typically, yes. That sort of emotion. Yeah.
As someone who is dead inside, there are moments where it's like that like the mom dies or, like Bambi's mom gets shot again. It's like, oh, that's a bummer.
And I noticed a lot of time for me lately too, it's not even about death, but just and this is dumb, but last weekend we took the kids to see the Lilo and Stitch movie. And I think I found myself twice in that one tearing up. And there's no death in there.
No, there's definitely no death.
Yeah, but it's just
he loses his family though.
You get yourself emotional, and and it's the seeing of the familial unit binding back together and those kinds of things.
Yes, that's fantastic. All right, you're doubling up.
Okay, next one. This does go back a little bit further. Realizing that candy cigarettes are not that cool, but I still want the jerky. But I still want the jerky chew.
I like it.
As a guy from Hawkinson, every single 6th grade boy bought the stupid jerky chew and put it in their lip and was like, "Look at me, we're chewing."
Oh yeah.
And I'm not a nicotine guy. I can't smoke, can't chew, can't do any of it right. At some point as a kid, a little bit. I do like cigars. Will you give me cigars at least? I'm not a full coward, but not a nicotine guy, not a drug guy. But the first time that you get the opportunity to put in the fake chew as like a end of elementary, beginning of middle school kid, at least from where I'm from, a little more rural, a little more in the backwoods, it can get it can get exciting. I'll just say that.
I like it. I'm trying to think. I have, again, I'm a swoosh bag. I have more shoes probably than most dudes. But I have got to the point where the shoes that I want to wear stylishly, it's knowing that you have to wear comfortable shoes.
Ooh, yeah.
You have to wear you want to stay away from the New Balances of the world, like not giving in to the New Balances or the Air Monarchs. Like I'm still holding firm.
Getting the Skechers,
but I can't wear my J's anymore. I if I know when you're covering basketball games, a lot of us, we all wear basketball shoes. That's just kind of part of the culture.
Yeah,
and
makes sense.
There's just nights I just can't. And so I have switched into my shoes. I'm trying to find the most stylish ones, the most comfortable. It is form over fashion now. It is comfort over fashion. That is the you let go of the closet for what is more comfortable.
That is fantastic.
It's the full giveaway of I'm not going to become my dad and wear the crappy shoes, but you are.
You're looking at the
how your feet feel at the end
Monarchs.
of the day. Oh, you're like I have resisted the On Clouds for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably my next purchase.
You're thinking about them. You're looking at.
I'm trying to avoid the Hokas, but it's oh man, it's leaning a little. It's awful white.
Is it the Green Goblin mask talking to you?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Put us on.
Oh, that's the thing is you put them on though. That's the problem. You're like, oh god, these are so comfortable. I can walk all day in these. I don't want to, but I could.
These are fantastic.
They are.
All right, so we're a little bit long. I'll double up, then we'll each have 3, and we'll call that good. Is that okay with everybody?
Yep.
Okay, so
Works
for my last 2, first one, we have fooding at home yourself. Saying, I can't go buy the fast food. I can't go to the nice fancy restaurant. Saying to your own self, you don't have the money for that. You have food at home. You'll eat the PB&J at home. That is a true sign of financial responsibility. But also, look, you're getting a little bit old there. That's
a good one. Absolutely. Yeah.
That is one where I 100% have to put on. And then the last one, and I think this falls into more of the growing up, not necessarily getting old. Caring about the alcohol that you are drinking. You can no longer drink the Four Loko, the Buzzball, the Mad Dog 2020,
the HRD.
I had a brand that I'm not going to say what type of bourbon they were last weekend. I had one sip of it and said, nope. And I went to the store and I bought something a little bit nicer just because it wasn't going to go down right. It wasn't going to taste well. I couldn't do the $15, half gallon of alcohol.
Your body will not tolerate the crap anymore.
No, my body literally said, don't.
No.
I was completely 100% sober. It was the first drink of the day.
Yeah, your body full on gave you the rolled up newspaper slap on the nose.
Oh, yes, it did.
Yes, it did.
No. Yes, it did.
It's the same thing with the fast food. And I held on for a long time. My body would resist Taco Bell like you wouldn't believe. And I was like, how can you eat that? I'm like, yeah, man, worst comes to worst, I can always grab Taco Bell. Now, like during the season, like the only thing that's open when I get home in a Newburgh is Taco Bell.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a couple times I'm like, man, I didn't eat dinner tonight. I got to get something. And I'll just, grab like one or two small items.
Mm-hmm.
And just that alone, the rest of the day, the next day, I'm just like,
cramping.
oh God, why? Why did I do this?
Bean burrito, no onions, and a steak quesadilla.
See, I do the chicken quesadilla. Like, it's just like, yeah, it's just, it just doesn't flow, man.
Yeah, no, I get that. We're getting there. We're more so on the alcohol. We're not quite to the food yet. Still got the gut of steel, but we're getting there. So for the signs that you're growing up / getting old, Rust has identifying with progressive commercials, crying at the movies, thinking fake cig / fake chew was cool. Danny's got a massage gun to fix soreness and pains, same color / company clothes, buying the same things multiple times. And then he's got buying shoes for comfort, not style. I have walking for exercise, saying you have food at home, and then caring about the alcohol that you buy. We're going to get those up on a poll over at 1080 The Fan on X, so you can head on over there and vote. If you want to text in some late submissions, you can do that right now, heading over to 503-864-6326. That is the Fan text line. We had a hockey game last night, and boy, was it an exciting one until the end. Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
Check
Welcome back on into the program. We're talking a little bit of Stanley Cup final. Game 1 was last night. Edmonton gets it done in OT. They beat the Panthers 4-3. They're now 3 wins away from getting Canada their first Stanley Cup championship since the 90s. Can you imagine, like, football would be the comparison. Imagine America not winning a football championship, a Super Bowl title for what? That's now almost 40 years.
Yeah, no, it is pretty crazy.
30 years.
And it's not like they've had a shortage of opportunities. That's the thing. They've just fallen short over and over and over and over again. And it's very funny. And yes, there's plenty of Canadians on teams that have.
No, most of those teams are Canadians.
Yeah, but it is funny. It is a fun little thing to lord over Canada. I do enjoy it. I am pulling for Edmonton because it's just I have kind of a soft spot for Edmonton. I've always kind of liked them. I like their logo, their city, the style that they've played, the players they've had. They're just a fun group. They just seem to always have something that's interesting and entertaining. And we got absolutely incredible hockey last night. I was sitting down going to cook some dinner, making some carne asada. Came out spectacular, by the way. But my wife's like, oh, I want to watch. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll put it on in the living room. So puck drops. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go check on something here real quick. I walk into the kitchen and 30 seconds later, I'm like, I peek out of the kitchen into the living room. Did they just score? Like, well, what the heck? She goes, yeah, they just scored a goal. I was like, what the sprint back into the living room. Like, the hell happened? A minute and 7 seconds into the game. And it's like, well, we're going to calm the crowd down here a little bit, aren't we? It's like, no, we're going to get into this real quick, real fast, and in a hurry. And the game lived up to the hype. I mean, you get a 4-3 game. You get overtime in the Stanley Cup Finals.
You get a comeback by the home team. Because remember, and we were talking about this just right now, it was 3-1 Panthers.
And this is a team that they're with their coach, they were 31-0. Leading after the first or second period in the playoffs.
Well,
this is his first loss when having a lead after either first or second period. They are not a team that gives up leads.
And for the hockey casuals, the way this series is split up, this Panthers team is more of your defensive juggernaut. Obviously, they have plenty of great goal scorers. Matthew Tkachuk is fantastic. Verhaeghe's been fantastic.
But they're built on their goaltending and defense.
They are built on Bobrovsky. They're built on former Winterhawk Seth Jones. Barkov is their best defender. That defense is what is going to win them games.
And they're deep.
There was a lot of conversation with this Edmonton Oilers team of you cannot fall behind in games. This Oilers team, it's the best offense. You have the best 2 offensive players in hockey right now, in Connor McDavid, also known as McJesus, and Leon Draisaitl, who Draisaitl obviously had the game-winning goal in overtime. He had the first goal to start everything up. This Oilers team is built on it's a very similar matchup to the Seahawks and the Broncos in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Where Peyton Manning's got the Broncos with that high-flying offense. You've got the great Legion of Boom defense from the Seahawks. Who's going to win? And 9 times out of 10, it is going to be the defense.
And last year it went to 7, and the Panthers pulled it out.
Right.
The only, I want to say, quote-unquote, unfortunate thing about this game was Nosek flipping the puck over the boards.
Yeah, it turning it, because as soon as he did it, as soon as there was a penalty, the Oilers were going to win that game. Yeah. They have the best power play. They just do. They have too many goal scorers in too many positions.
And it was what sucked about it is that penalty is a penalty for a reason, because 100%. that's it's so you can keep teams from trying to basically do what the Panthers did,
ice the game.
Right. But it wasn't a situation where he was under pressure. It was the puck was bobbling up. He wasn't trying to throw it over the boards. He was just trying to. He was tired. He was trying to just dump it down and get a line shift.
Right.
But the unfortunate, though, is Nosek is actually known for doing this. I think that was his number 1 penalty when he was with the Devils.
Yeah.
And this is just something that he does.
Everyone has their bugaboos.
And it's just, he was good in the game otherwise. I think he had a goal, didn't he?
He did not have a goal. It looks like he.
Oh no, I was looking at the stats earlier. It was Marchand that was above him on there.
Marchand is sneaky. Marchand's going to have a goal in this series that kills the Oilers. There will be a game.
He's a great player.
This is going to be a series. Like, they talk right now with the NBA Finals, like, hey, I think the general consensus is kind of a thought of OKC in 5.
Yeah.
Like, it'll be a close series when you look at the games and the point totals, but they think OKC is going to kind of gentleman sweep here. This series in hockey, I believe, is going to go at least 6. Last year, it went all the way to 7. An improbable great comeback by the Oilers because they were down 3-0. People forget that. They come back storming, and then the Panthers are able to hold on. But this series, Brad Marchand will have a goal that wins the Panthers a game. He is notorious when he was with the Bruins, and it was more so against the Maple Leafs, where in big moments, he finds a way to get big goals. It's why he keeps playing on Team Canada. He was on Team Canada in the Four Nations face-off. It's why the Panthers made the trade to go and get him at the trade deadline.
Like, he's a great player.
He shows up huge.
He's a huge playoff
big
guy.
moments.
Yeah.
Big moments.
No, this has all the drama and all the juice and all the everything that you could want. I mean, you get overtime in the Stanley Cup Finals, you're elated. You're absolutely elated because even though the Oilers, they pretty much dominated the overtime period, it felt like it was gonna be them, which was the kind of like, does that mean the Panthers are gonna pull one out here? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, the Oilers are doing so much and not able to capitalize.
Right.
But as soon as you get the penalty, you're like,
it was over.
That's gotta be it.
Well, and it felt like one of those games where the Oilers, and you've had this feeling before. You talked about it with the Blazers, right? When you're talking about the 2000s Western Conference Finals loss, where either they have the lead or in this case, it's a tie game. But the Oilers, like, they had opportunity after opportunity. Yeah. They had 2 or 3 breakaways in that overtime. I want to say that the stat was after, like, about halfway through the third period, all the way till the end of the game, the Oilers had 20 to 21 shots to the Panthers 5. Yeah. It looked like the ice was slanted in the Oilers' way. And I feel like maybe this is just because I'm a glass half full guy, and every once in a while I will move to the glass half empty. But when you have that many opportunities and you don't get it done, it feels like the other team gets one opportunity and they make the most of it.
That's all it takes.
And the Panthers have so many guys who can do that. Like, I mean, we mentioned Seth Jones, former Portland Winterhawk. Took him to the Memorial Cup. Loved watching him when he was playing down here with the Winterhawks. He's one of the better offensive defensemen in the league. Like, he is a great player. I could easily see a puck just finding its way to his stick and him putting it in.
I mean, again, this is the team that was up 3-1. Like,
right. And Skinner's he's not a great goaltender. He's been fine, and he's been much better this postseason than he has in the past. But it's not like the Oilers are going to be known for their defense. They're going to win games like this. They're going to win 4-3, 5-3, 5-2, 4-1. Like, they're not going to win games 2-1. That's just not how this Oilers team is built.
No, but look, it just sets the series up for hopefully another 7-game series.
I can't wait. It's awesome. I hope McDavid finally gets one so he can get he can't win the big one off his back. I think it's good for the game of hockey to have a rematch in a series like this. Remember, the last time that the NHL had a rematch like this, it was the Detroit Red Wings at the end of their run and the Pittsburgh Penguins at the beginning of Malkin and Crosby's run. And so you kind of had that passing of the torch. Now, this isn't a passing of the torch because the 2 big stars in this, if you're looking at either team, so McDavid and you're looking at Tkachuk, they're the same age. Yeah. But this is a more defensive team versus a more offensive team. And if Canada can finally get it done and McDavid can finally get it done, he can get the monkey off his back, he can finally be looked at as one of the great ones, it would be a big deal. And this is the series that the NHL should want, because we don't want to talk about TV ratings. That's not what we're here to do, but they need to get eyeballs on their sport. And I think this is a great way to do it.
Perfect example of it is it's Edmonton.
Right.
Who cares about the city of Edmonton outside of Edmonton? Nobody. But you know what I cared about? Great hockey last night.
Yep. Well, and they have.
It's not hard. It's really not hard.
They have the pedigree.
Well, not only that, but like the way that they talk about it.
Right.
The guys that cover the sport the way it needs to be covered. And if it's not for you, it's not for you.
Right. It's a fantastic series, and I can't wait to go deep into this series over the next 2 weeks or so. We're going to break down the last little bit of the finals. You've got the Thunder versus the Pacers tonight. We're going to go through why the Thunder will win, why the Pacers will win next. But first, Rest with SportsCenter.
Now, Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by 808 Hawaiian Restaurant. Mixed plates like Grandma used to make. If your grandma were from the Big Island, Woodstock, Burnside, Beaverton, or online at ate-oh-ate.com. First on The Fan, the NBA Finals are finally here from the Paycom Center in Oklahoma City. The Thunder hosting the Pacers. 5:30 tip on ABC. Coverage on 910 ESPN Portland starts at 4:30. That will be your radio home for the NBA Finals. The Thunder are 10-point favorites. NFL Network reporting 41-year-old quarterback Aaron Rodgers has told the Steelers he will fly to Pittsburgh tomorrow to sign a one-year deal with the team prior to next week's minicamp and will spend his 21st season in Pittsburgh. The Ravens signed wide receiver Rashad Bateman to a 3-year, $36.75 million extension with $23 million guaranteed. The Mariners currently on the diamond looking to avoid a sweep at the hands of the Orioles. Things were looking good for a bit, but the Orioles now, we're in the top of the 8th, have a 4-3 lead. That's thanks to back-to-back jacks from Adley Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson in the top half of the 6th inning. And a wild one earlier today in Atlanta. The Braves entered the 9th inning with a 10-4 lead over the Diamondbacks. Eugenio Suarez, though, he had different plans. He knocked a go-ahead 2-run double to cap off a 7-run 9th for Arizona. Atlanta goes scoreless in the bottom half of the 9th. Arizona wins 11-10. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Russ from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The inside story on the Blazers, Ducks, and Beavers. Danny and Dusty. Weekdays noon to 3 on the Odyssey app and 1080 The Fan.
Danny and Friends going on right now here on Danny and Dusty. Will Ortner filling in the latest of the Friends. Going to be a couple more Friends coming throughout this week and next week. Rust, I'm sorry I missed your update. What happened to the Braves?
Oh, yeah. They had
Did something
themselves-
happen?
Yeah, they had themselves a nice little 10-4 lead going into the
so they
ninth
won.
inning.
They won easy, didn't they?
As Lee Corso might say, not so fast, my friend.
No.
They gave up 7 runs in the top half of the ninth inning to lose to the Diamondbacks 11-10.
That's a shame.
Yes.
That's a shame.
During the break, I got a very friendly text from one of our favorite morning show hosts, Brandon Sprague, and he said, "Stop reporting the Braves news, you a-hole."
I mean, certainly the Braves are doing good this year, right?
They have to be. I mean, they have all those stars.
They're not fourth in the division, right?
Well, and Spencer Strider's coming down, and he's fantastic. Acuna's back.
All that money spent on that team, I'm sure they're doing great. They're certainly doing better than my St. Louis Cardinals, right?
And is Blooper fighting the Philly? Has he fought the Philly yet? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-mm.
Their mascot, Blooper, was supposed to fight the Philly Fanatic.
Don't fight the Philly Fanatic.
Who's going to win?
Dude, that would be like the Globetrotters and the Washington Generals.
Yeah, the
You
Philly
think
Fanatics.
the Fanatic
The Fanatics
beats
mopping
Blooper's
the floor.
Blooper's huge.
Yeah,
I think
no,
Blooper's
but it's
got
going to be
the
scripted
reach.
like a WWE match.
Well, yeah.
Not even that. It's still it's Philly. Philly
Yeah.
mascot is never going to lose anything.
Yeah.
Well, fighting wise,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
true.
He's
'cause
He's going to
a
have some
true
batteries in his
dirtbag.
pocket.
Gritty's going to come out of nowhere and DDT him. Just it's over.
Just all of a sudden, you'll have the Stone Cold intro music with the glass,
glass
breaking.
breaks, yeah.
Fantastic. Yet somehow they all kept their mascot heads on, so no one got revealed, but they were doing like full on like moonsaults.
Well, what we need to have happen is have the head pop off and just have no head be in there
Ooh, that would be perfect.
because it's not it's nobody's actually in there.
Well, that would just be them dying
Yeah,
because
see?
their head would be ripped off. And well, now I've gotten sad.
Yeah, see.
Let's pivot. Let's go back to the NBA finals tonight. How did the Thunder win?
Do what they do. Be an aggressive, blitzing, dynamic, overly aggressive, paint-packing demon of a team that just has hands in the passing lanes at all time. They are the team in the NBA that in the playoffs have packed the paint more than anybody else. They're more disruptive than anybody else. They overhelp more than anybody else, but they can overhelp because they're on a string. That's what they do. They've defied conventional wisdom, whereas usually get deeper in the playoffs, your team gets bigger, they get smaller. They play with smaller lineups. They can put Alex Caruso on bigs and be okay with it. They can put Lou Dort on bigs and be okay with it. They can be multiple. They can be dynamic. You need SGA to continue doing what he's been doing. He had a bit of a slow start to the playoffs, but ever since then, really, he's averaging 33 and 8.
He's been awesome
Yeah.
basically since the Nuggets series, like game 1.
He's really kind of turned on and been the MVP. Jalen Williams, after a bit of a slow start early in the playoffs, has started to figure things out. Chet Holmgren, his first real playoff stint, is starting to figure things out.
Right.
They just have to continue doing what they're doing. It's about the Pacers and what can they stop the Thunder from doing. Like, there's a reason why the Thunder are the third most favored team in the modern era at a -700. You just don't typically see this kind of thing. Like in the past, there have been these matchups that have been skewed, but they weren't skewed so far from the analytics side of things. The Thunder, by basically every measure, are a historic team that should win the finals.
Is there a world? Because right now, Pacers -700 for the series. We talked about it in the first hour where you said they have to play fast. They have to play with pace. The issue is you're going to go up against a Thunder team that right now, where most teams would shorten their lineup, they'd go 6, 7, maybe 8 guys. The Thunder, like the Pacers, play about 9 to 10.
These are the two deepest teams in the playoffs.
Can the Pacers outrun them? Can they run them into the ground? Is it something
You're not going to wear them. You're not going to wear them out.
Okay.
But you can tax them. And one of the things, it's nothing new, but like somebody like SGA, who is in incredible shape, he can play 40 minutes, no problem. That's not an issue. But because the offensive burden falls on him, so Todd Whitehead at Crumpled Jumper on Twitter does work for Sport Radar, which is a part of Synergy and everything else, a lot of data tracking and data visualizations. He had one out the other day that outlined the touch percentage. Tyrese Halliburton is number 1 in this series. 25% of the touches go through Tyrese Halliburton. 20% go through SGA, but it's not quite as telling because that's touch percentage, not touch time. Halliburton is not a guy like Jalen Brunson or even SGA who can kind of pound the ball a little bit. Like when you think about the Thunder and how good they are, SGA is like, he is the only one who is really driving the train, so to speak. Like, even though his touch percentage isn't as high as Halliburton, he like is as good as Jalen Williams is. He's a very good player. He is not the driving force of that offense.
SGA is the straw that stirs the drink. He makes that offense go. If he goes away, that offense has issues big time.
Can the Pacers, or will the Pacers do the what the Blazers kind of did against Jokic in their matchups? And it worked until it didn't in the 21 playoffs when Nurk decided to kind of throw a temper tantrum and pick up some fouls, and all of a sudden it put the Blazers in a position where they couldn't single cover Jokic anymore. But they were like, we're going to single cover Jokic and make him be a scorer. If you're the Pacers, can you make SGA be the entire burden of the offense while also having to defend on the other side of the floor? Or do you go the other way and you let SGA get what he gets and you make everyone else work harder? It's going to be really interesting to kind of see which way Rick Carlisle goes with that, and does he toggle back and forth between it? The Denver Nuggets gave the Thunder a lot of looks at zone. And I wonder, it's like, if you're the Pacers, are you sitting there looking at the Nuggets? Ooh, God, that could have been bad.
It was real close.
That was real
close.
That was the
Wow, we got to go to break.
Yeah, that was really close.
We're good. Keep going. No, we'll do it live.
The Nuggets. God. But
Denver.
That's also why we only say the New York Knicks.
Yes.
Yes.
But if you're the Pacers, are you looking at the Nuggets and going, did you really have to show them that much zone? Because now it's not like something they haven't seen a lot of. So I'm sure Mark Daniel has the Thunder prepared for some, box and ones, some 2-3s, some 1-2-2s, some 2-1-2s, all the things you can use to junk it up. And we should see the entirety of that defensive playbook. It's just how they employ it, when they deploy it, and who they choose to deploy it on.
Yeah, 220, 221, whatever it takes.
Right. The Pacers use Nesmith and Nembhard to stop Jalen Brunson, who is a very similar style of player as SGA. And
paint heavy, yes.
Until Naismith had his injury with his ankle roll, he was the main guy. He could do it, and then Nembhard was able to step up in one game.
You're going to see
either one of those
them.
two do it.
They're going to see both of them get turns, and that's the way they need to do it, because there's no single guy that's going to slow him down.
That's going to be fantastic. Game 1 is going to be tonight in the NBA Finals. We're going to wrap it up. Rust has a nice little story he wants to tell us next on 1080 The Fan.
Hello.
Show flew along here on Danny and Dusty, Danny and Friends edition, Will Ortner edition. Russ told me before the show even started that it was a very important anniversary. He said that the bump back music was going to tell me what the anniversary was for. It didn't tell me what the anniversary music is for.
Today is the 40th anniversary of Ferris Bueller taking a day off from school. They went back. They went back in Chicago. Yes, they went back and found, based off of the Chicago Cubs game footage and whatnot, and what they saw in there and scoreboards and whatnot, they figured out that it was June 5th, 1985, where Ferris Bueller stayed home sick.
This is a lot like finding out the exact day that Ice Cube was talking about when he didn't have to use his AK.
Yeah, when he said, "Yeah, gotta say it was a good day."
And then when Ice Cube was finally asked about it, he's like, "No, it wasn't any particular day, but there was a day that matched everything he said." And I don't know if you guys saw O'Shea Jackson.
How many days was he using an AK?
Probably a lot. But he talks about hooking up with a woman, and the host asks him, "Is it a little bit weird that song's about your mom?" And he's like, "First of all, bleep you." Like,
so true.
It's like, that's tough. It's a tough look.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Her up, Buttercup.
Is it weird to anyone else when they? Now, I haven't seen the full movie. I've seen parts of it. I've seen the TNT version.
I'm not a John Hughes guy, and I've seen it.
And here's the issue.
I'm a big John.
I like John Hughes. I really like 16 Candles. I really like Breakfast Club. They're both fantastic. I should watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off. The Charlie Sheen scene.
Yes.
It rattles me every time that I see it. Yeah, and I know it's different in like Major League because he's a main character in Major League. Every time I see young Charlie Sheen, it's like, that guy is going to be insane.
Yeah, well, that was crazy foreshadowing in that movie too, wasn't it?
Well, because isn't he's like just barely in it, right? He's just there for a little bit, and then
in the jail scene.
Right.
Yeah.
Where he's like the ne'er-do-well kid. He's getting into some trouble. He's got the jean jacket, so everyone knows that he's not the cleanest of dudes. I think that's fantastic. That'll be one that I have to put on the list. Maybe I'll watch it at the beach.
Yes. Well, you should do a back-to-back, a double feature with Ferris Bueller and the Goonies.
Yeah, maybe I will.
Since you've watched neither of them.
You can grab your 40th anniversaries of both.
Yes, exactly. And one that we missed earlier this week, 2 days ago, nobody noticed it. I did actually wear the shirt on the day, June 3rd, McLovin's 44th birthday.
Oh, there you go.
I have seen that movie.
Yeah.
That movie rocks. That's a fantastic movie. I want to say he's got a famous other line that he does as well. Danny, thank you so much for having me on the show
thanks for
today.
being here, man.
I really appreciate it. It was a great show. If you didn't get a chance to check it out, head on over to the Odyssey app or wherever you find podcasts. You can go and listen to the entire show, segments as well. You can head on back to the YouTube, obviously, at 1080 The Fan. We will be there. Danny's got a guest that I will not reveal who it will be tomorrow, but it's going to be another fantastic show. I want to say thank you to all of you for tuning in. And have a wonderful day. Happy birthday to my brother Luke.
Indeed. Take care. Talk soon. Bye.
Isaac Robb. Hey, if you're anything like me, you put off the